was an ambush.
How many did you save?
Just like a dream.
You did the only thing you could do. And you lost.
Like a dream.
Look, we're still in this thing.
The day you walked away.
But we have no idea what we're dealing with.
Unfortunately.
Things are getting worse around here, aren't they?
Boyd, we're out of food.
Too many things are changing here. I have to remember.
Remember what?
What's missing?
Nothing that I've been through is possible.
I think you're here for what's in the basement.
This place will not break us. We can still win. But the only way we go home is together.
Hello. The game here is rigged. Why can't they leave us alone?
No matter what this place throws at us, we're gonna find our way home.
Everybody just talks about how afraid they are of dying. Well, I don't think that's the worst thing that can happen to you here. Hello?
Like a dream.
You looking for these?
Into my life.
You can't save them all.
But things are really how they seem.
My favorite scare, the first time that Boyd hears the creature speak to him.
You said this place couldn't break you. Do you remember that, boy? You don't fucking break me.
I love the moment that Smiley comes up on the bus.
And he kills the couple. That was something else. Jade, he goes into the root cellar. I had to stop it and like take a second before I started it again.
They were dissecting the monster.
Does his little finger thing. It gets me every time.
It made me jump off the couch.
I still love the scene Jasper, the puppet, shows up and just... And then Jade screams right back at him.
When the monster comes from the roof to get Ethan, that was crazy.
That was good. The scene where Father Cautry is killed.
When Elgin is driving us to the clinic, there is this one branch that gets me every time.
Can you go any faster?
I shit my pants.
My overall favorite is when you see the old lady and the little kid.
In the window, in the opening. It's just so iconic.
And you know from that moment on, oh, this is scary.
Let me go!
Okay, ding dongs. If you don't subscribe to Jeremy Ice and Fire, you're gonna spend the night in the box.
And welcome one, welcome all to the episode 8 pre-game show. So awesome to be here with you this evening as we dive into the festivities and await the next around 2 hours and 45 minutes or so for episode 8 to load into our screens. And I have very high hopes for this one as well, Ty. I think episode 8 will be the wildest ones this season. I have high hopes. I have very high hopes, just based on what we saw from the trailer, based on what we saw from the episode synopsis, and the awesome stills that they have released. I think this is going to be a good one. And I know fans have been waiting for things to kind of pick up, some fans anyway. So I think tonight is going to be a very, very exciting episode. Yes, the Jeremy in Yellow is here. What is up, Breezy K? Welcome one, welcome all. And we stream it in our Discord just after midnight. Right around midnight is when it drops right on the MGM app. And we have awesome moderators in the Discord standing by, getting ready to play episode 8 when it is available. So right around midnight is usually when I end the stream and we all hop to the Discord and watch the episode, and then we discuss it afterwards. And of course, everybody's welcome. Everybody is welcome. But here we are, folks. We are approaching the final 3 episodes of From Season 3. The final 3 of Season 3. And man, it seems like this season has been just completely whipping by, just super fast. I know I probably say this every week, but it literally feels like it was just a week or two ago that we were just starting Season 3. And here we go now, as Amy Bones says, let's go. Episode 8. Man, season is flying by. Flying by indeed. But let's say what is up to the awesome chat. Let's see who is joining us here this evening as we dive in and kill some time over the next less than 3 hours now until episode 8 hits our screens. But first, we got Crazy Mad for $9.99. Thank you so much, Crazy Mad. Appreciate you, my friend. Can't wait to see tonight's episode. Let's get this party started. Yes! Indeed. Let's get this party started indeed. And speaking of, let's throw up this banner. I know most of the people who hang out in this chat, the regulars, already pretty much know. No spoilers in chat, of course. I know there have been some kind of leaks, apparently, that have been making their way inside the fandom. I have been lucky enough that I have avoided said leaks. It's really easy to avoid spoilers. You have to kind of limit your engagement with the fandom, which really sucks. But it is kind of easy to avoid the spoilers. If you stay away from places like Facebook, stay away from Reddit, stay away from any place where a lot of fans congregate, you should be able to avoid the spoilers easy enough. I've pretty much been hanging out just here on the channel and in our Discord. And if I'm sticking to just those 2 places, I've been pretty lucky. I haven't seen any of the spoilers yet. But yes, definitely keep an eye out, guys. And of course, mods, if by some chance you do see spoilers in the chat, definitely drop the ban hammer on them as fast as you can. But hopefully everybody can be respectful, and anyone who has seen the spoilers won't be posting them in chat. But most people who show up here are usually pretty cool about that kind of thing. So thank you so much, Crazy Mad. Very much appreciate you, my friend. Very much appreciate you. Let's see, we also got Amy Bones. Let me get to that as well. We got the awesome Amy Bones. Please, nobody post spoilers in chat. And yes, absolutely. And again, most of the people who hang out here, you know, they're pretty cool. Even the few who have accidentally seen spoilers, I imagine won't spoil it for us here. But yes, just to be sure, please, no spoilers for anything beyond episode 7, please. Let's not ruin the experience for those of us who don't want to know what's coming. So thank you so much for that, Crazy Mad, and thank you so much, Amy Bones, as well, for the $4.99. And I owe you guys a whoa. Whoa! Handing out woes already. That is a good sign. Welcome one, welcome all. All right, let me scroll back up here. Let's see who we have as some of our early arrivals in the chat. And again, welcome to everybody who is joining us on this pregame show for episode 8. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We got Wes Shantz in the house. What is up, Wes? Good to see you. We got Xavier Anderson, my man. What is up, Xavier? Good to see you. Throwing up the Dale emoji and the fanny pack granny emoji. Yes, Xavier, we can all take a moment of silence for our good, dear old fanny pack granny who has departed us. R.I.P. Tilly. You made quite an entrance when you landed onto our TV screens, and quite an exit as well. Quite an exit as well. R.I.P. to Fanny Pack Granny. Yes, let's see those Tilly emojis in chat, guys. I love seeing that. Yes, R.I.P. to the one and only Tilly. Gone. She's gone, but her fanny pack will never be forgotten. I know that. That fanny pack is eternal. We got Kiwi Skirt in the house, the awesome Kiwi Skirt. Thank you so much. You handle some of our watch parties in the Discord, and so thankful for that. Welcome, welcome, Kiwi. We got Alvin Rogers in the house. What is up, Alvin? Can't wait for episode 8. Yes, me too. I am really excited for this one. Yeah, I mean, we're getting to the last 3 episodes, and you can tell they're getting ready to really ramp things up. And based on the way episode 7 ended with the big death scene of poor old Fanny Pack Granny, I get the feeling we're going to have a very interesting kind of internal skirmish almost when we see all of these opposing sides try to deal with this murder investigation. Now, obviously, Boyd's going to want to handle it one way. I get the feeling Donna's going to want to handle it one way. And of course, the newly minted Officer Acosta, she's going to be sticking her nose in the mix as well. So I think we have some fireworks coming, or at least the potential, definitely at least the potential for some fireworks. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Got John Sanders in the house. What is up, John? Good to see you as well. We got Delsenia in the building. What is up, Delsenia? Welcome, welcome, my friend. I hope you are doing well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Got Andrew West, who has become a new member of the channel. Welcome, Andrew West. That is so awesome of you. Welcome to the channel, and thank you so much for becoming a member. Of course, all members have custom use of all the awesome Fromville emojis we have available down there. And, of course, do not hesitate to let them things fly. I love seeing the custom From emojis in chat. Definitely, definitely, definitely. And welcome, Andrew. Thank you so much for becoming a member. And you know what that means. I owe Andrew a whoa. There we go. There we go. Welcome, welcome, Andrew. Good to have you here, my friend. Good to have you. Got Stephanie in the building. What is up, Stephanie? Always good to see you as well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We got the Hollywood Pineapple in the building. What is up, Hollywood Pineapple? Good to see you. Got Nashidi in the house. What is up, Nashidi? I hope I am pronouncing that right. If I am not, I am sorry. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We got Bill D in the house. What is up, Bill D? Welcome, welcome. We got Maria. What is up, Maria? Always good to see you as well. Got Nick L in the building, the 3D print extraordinaire, which reminds me, I'm going to have to get back to this whole giveaway that we're going to be doing. And Tuesday, I will be announcing when and where we will exactly be doing the giveaway. And thank you so much, Nick L, as well. Just an awesome contributor of not just the channel, but the Fromville community as a whole. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. We got Arrow in the house. What is up, Arrow? I'm ready for all the facts and answers tonight. Whether I get them is a different story. Yes, Arrow. That's a good way to approach it. I mean, we're all ready for the answers. Whether or not we'll get them or not remains to be seen. You guys know me. I'm not in a big hurry for answers personally, but I totally understand those of you who do want answers. Totally understand that. But me, I'm just enjoying the ride. I am just enjoying the ride. Got Kelly in the house. What is up, Kelly? Where can I find episode 8? Episode 8 will be available just after midnight. That is when MGM officially releases it on their site. And we will be watching it in the Discord as well. And you can find the link to the Discord in the chat. I'll actually pin it to the top of the chat. Thank you so much, Kiwi, for throwing that in there. Yeah, our link to our Discord, where we hang out and do our watch parties, is pinned to the top of the chat. And you'll be able to watch it there just after midnight. Got Andre in the house. What is up, Andre? Good to see you. We got Tabitha in the building. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Got Elizabeth in the house. What is up, Elizabeth? Welcome. Good to see you as well. We got Robert Patterson in the house. What is up, Robert? Anyone else concerned with that only 3 episodes left of the season? They haven't confirmed season 4 yet. No, not really. Usually MGM kind of plays a similar format every year, where even season 2, they didn't announce season 3 until season 2 ended. So I imagine once season 3 is over, that's when we'll probably get that confirmation for season 4. I wouldn't really expect to see it ahead of time. Although Harold Perrineau did recently do an interview where he said he couldn't confirm anything because he doesn't even know anything yet. But he said he is very hopeful that they'll be getting a season 4. And they will be. I mean, this is really becoming MGM's just flagship show, without a doubt. So I don't think there's any risk of them getting canceled. But usually the way MGM plays it, they like to wait for their seasons to end, look at all of the numbers, and then they usually order new seasons. So once season 3 is over, we'll probably get that official confirmation that season 4 is coming. Because, I mean, it's such a huge show. It's bringing in so many subscribers for them. And, yeah, there's no way that they'll be canceling it. No way, Jose. Welcome all. Welcome all. All right, let's dive into this a little bit, shall we? And for anybody I missed, welcome to the chat. So glad to have each and every one of you here. Let me dive on down to the bottom. And yeah, we're going to be hanging out over the next 2.5 hours or so until we have episode 8 loaded up on our screens. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's see what else we got. I see Steph down there as well. Again, anybody that I missed, awesome to have you here. I see Breezy K in the house. What is up, Breezy? The one and only Susie. Welcome, welcome, Susie, as well. All right, so let me pull these up. We're going to take a look at some of the recently released stills for episode 8. And we're going to have a little bit of a gander. We are going to have a little bit of a gander. And again, I am very hopeful for episode 8. I definitely think this is going to be one of their better episodes. I mean, I enjoy all the episodes, even the ones that are a little bit slower. I still really enjoy whether it's just a little bit of character development we're getting, a little bit of world building we're getting, even the episodes that aren't really crazy exciting. I still find something to enjoy in every single episode that comes out. But that's just my opinion. That is just my opinion. I might be going to hell in a bucket, but at least I'm enjoying the ride. R.I.P. Phil Lesh. Oh, speaking of R.I.P.s, that totally reminds me. R.I.P. to the legend in horror, an absolute legend in the horror field, has been just a staple in the horror community for decades now. And that, of course, is the one and only Tony Todd, the Candyman himself. Unfortunately, I recently just saw that Tony Todd has passed away, which is super unfortunate. Again, the guy was such a legend in the horror community, and not just from Candyman, from all the other incredible roles that he's played as well. So it sucks. I mean, I was so afraid of Candyman as a kid. Like, that was not many movies like really scared me as a kid. But freaking Candyman, that was one of those movies that always just scared the ever-living daylights out of me every time it was on. And yeah, he was very menacing, just super menacing, whether it was his physicality, his presence on screen, his voice. The dude was just so menacing on screen. So yeah, it's such a shame to see that we lost Tony Todd again. Just absolute freaking legend in the horror community, and it sucks. You hate to see a legend like that go far before their time too. I mean, he way too young to go. But yeah, for me, Candyman always scared the freaking crap out of me. That movie always got me. Yeah, even as an adult, right? Absolutely. Even as an adult now, like, I still get scared when I think about Candyman. It's just, I don't know if it's. I think it's a mixture of everything, of the whole kind of concept. But again, I think a lot of it is Tony Todd himself. Whether it's, again, his physical presence on screen, big, tall, imposing. The voice is just so deep and so creepy and so scary. It was, yeah, it always got me. Absolutely, always got me. So yeah, poor old Tony Todd. How old was he? I believe he was. I believe he was 68 or 69. I believe he was 68 or 69. Way too old, way too young to go. That is for sure. That is for sure. Tony Todd. How old was Tony Todd? Yeah, 69. Okay, I thought it was 68 or 69. Everyone's saying 69 though, so that sounds accurate. Yeah, just way too young. Way too young. You hate to see that. Absolutely hate to see that. And we lost Quincy Jones, musical legend. Oh, interesting. I did not know that myself. Incredible as old Jake Sisko. Yes, indeed. But yeah, absolutely really good movie. And sucks to see a legend like that go. Absolutely sucks. Tony Todd, his voice was fantastic. He also voiced Zoom in the CW Flash. I also reminds him of the Final Destination. That's right. He was in Final Destination as well. The detective that kind of knew a little bit more than that was the thing with his characters. It's almost like he knew a little bit more than everybody else around him, even when it is just in roles like that Final Destination, like his role in Final Destination, the detective that kind of knows the ins and outs of death and how it works. Perfect, kind of actor to kind of give you that exposition on the whole lore of Final Destination. And yes, as you mentioned, he was the voice of Zoom in the CW Flash series. I didn't watch a whole lot of that myself personally, but I did watch season 1 and 2, so I do remember. I think it was season 2 or 3 that I think he was Zoom, and I think that was the last season I watched. I kind of lost interest after that. But yeah. R.I.P. to the legend. R.I.P. to Tony Todd. Gone but never forgotten. And in his honor, I think probably tomorrow, actually. Probably tomorrow, Sunday. Nice good day off. I think I will be honoring Tony Todd tomorrow with a rewatch of Candyman. It's been so long since I've seen Candyman 2. So I'm going to have to check that out. I'm going to have to check that out. The 100 was actually good. I actually really liked The 100 when it first came out as well. I kind of fell out of it, not because I didn't like it, just because so many other shows started popping up and I had to start covering other shows. But The 100 was one of those CW shows that was like way better than its station. And I don't want to knock the CW too bad. But the CW hasn't always been known for making high, top-tier quality shows. But The 100, like, that was a really well-produced show, well-acted, good cast, good concept. I actually liked The 100. I thought that was a good one. I thought it was a really good one. Definitely one of the best shows that the CW has put out in a very long time. Absolutely. Got some other 100 fans in the house. Like it. Awesome. Ty Briggs. Love the 100. One of my favorites. One of my all-time favorites. Awesome. Ando. What is up, Ando? Good to see you. The 100 was great. Yes. Dragon King says, watch the 100 on Netflix and binged. It is. It's one of the 100 is definitely one of those shows where I would say it is kind of good for that binge model. When I look at a show like From, I would probably recommend don't binging a show. You know, you don't want to binge a show like From or like Lost or Twin Peaks. These kind of shows that are kind of a little bit more wrapped in mystery that really kind of make you think. You really benefit very much from watching every episode more than once. But a show like The 100, definitely kind of more geared towards that kind of binge model, I would say. Absolutely. Binge away if you want to check out The 100. I still need to check out the last season, actually. I watched pretty much all of The 100 except for the final season. So I don't even know how it ends. So I'm going to have to dive back into that at some point and see where The 100 goes and how it ends. Because I did enjoy it while it was on. It was a pretty decent show. It was a pretty decent show. Indeed. Let's see what else we got. I was a teen when I watched The 100, and it got me into mystery kind of show exploring worlds. Awesome. That is awesome. I mean, whenever a show kind of gets somebody into like a new genre, that's always great because it really does. It opens you up to a whole world of other storytelling, other kinds of storytelling out there. Like for me, I was never the biggest horror fan growing up. Like again, like even movies like Candyman scared the crap out of me as a kid. It wasn't until I got a little bit later in my teens where I started to find a very deeper understanding and a deeper appreciation for the horror genre as a whole. And yeah, once you see that, once you have that appreciation for a new genre of storytelling, like I said, it completely kicks open the door to a whole new world of possibilities of storytelling to explore. So yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad it got you into some mystery stuff. Good stuff. Love it. That one where the girl is in the bathroom and the song comes on there as someone walking behind you ended up happening to me. I get the fuck out of there. Oh, shit. Now that's always incredibly trippy and creepy. Like when you see something like a concept or a scene that's from like a very prominent horror movie that you kind of know a lot or has like a very special meaning to you, and you see those exact same circumstances replicated in real life, it's super trippy, you know. It's like a completely outer body experience, and that's happened to me a few times as well. Not so much with horror stuff, but other stuff that I've watched where I'm looking around and I'm thinking in my head, this feels incredibly familiar because I've seen a show that had an exact concept like that before. Not even an exact concept, even if it's just a little scene. But I know what you mean, Amy. Sometimes when you see stuff like that, that's kind of fresh off the screen and into real life, it can kind of throw you for a little bit of a loop. Indeed. I love it when the shows are in the futuristic and Pride Drive second world and primitive second world. Yeah, I mean, The 100 was just a good concept, wasn't it? It was, I mean, we've seen so many kind of post-apocalyptic shows where you see the devastation of nuclear war hundreds of years later, but they had a very interesting take on it in terms of all of humanity kind of living in space to kind of escape this whole nuclear war, only to come down to find out that people have been living there the entire time, that the ground was habitable this entire time. And then you see, you know, all the factions that start to kind of spring up, whether it's the people who came down from the Ark or the Grounders, the Mountain Men who get introduced in season 2. It was just a really good concept. And it was executed very well. It's one thing to have a good concept, but once you have a good concept, you also need good writing and good actors and directors to actually execute the concept. Because I've seen so many shows out there that were pretty good conceptually, but then when they go to put that concept when they go to put that concept into practice, it kind of falls short. And that's the big difference. You can have the best idea in the world, but if you don't have the right people executing that idea, it can fall flat. But The 100 was one of those shows where it was good concept and they executed it very well as well. So yeah, anyone who hasn't seen The 100, I would probably, again, you'll very rarely catch me recommending any CW shows, but The 100, I would say, is one that's worth watching. For sure. And then again, the CW I used to like the CW back in the day. Like when Smallville was on, back in the Smallville days, I loved Smallville. Maybe it's because I'm a big comic book fan and have been since I was very young. But yeah, I used to love Smallville back in the day. The show starts at midnight. For anyone who's just recently coming in and wondering, the actual episode starts just after midnight, which is around 2.5 hours from right now. It is 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just after midnight, episode 8 will be available in the Discord or on your MGM apps. So we are just hanging out and killing some time for the next 2.5 hours while we wait for episode 8 to drop. It is coming, guys. It is coming. Tony Todd in the great remake of Night of the Living Dead from 1990. He just fits so well in that horror genre. You could literally put Tony Todd in any horror movie in existence, and he'll fit right in like a glove. He just fits so well. That's one thing I haven't seen actually though. The Man in Black. Man in Black says, do y'all like the Candyman remake? I haven't actually seen the remake. I remember one coming out a few years ago. But no, I actually still have not seen that remake. Maybe that's the one I'll probably watch. I mean, maybe just in honor of Tony Todd and his legacy. I think tomorrow I'll watch the original Candyman, and I'll go and I'll watch the remake finally and see what it's about. I have no idea how good the remake is, if it holds up to the originals, if it's a shit movie. I have no idea. But if anyone has seen the remake, definitely let me know what you thought of it in the chat. But yeah, that's what I'll probably do tomorrow. In Tony Todd's honor, to honor his legacy, I'm going to check out the original Candyman tomorrow, and then I'll probably watch the remake. I totally forgot about the remake, actually, until you just mentioned that. I completely forgot that existed. So yeah, I'm going to check that out. I am going to have to check that out. Let's see what else we got. What's epic about The 100 is the show writers did a way better version than the original book author. Hey, sometimes it happens. It's rare, but there are some cases every once in a while where an adaptation of a pre-existing source material will actually do it just as good, if not better. Again, doesn't happen too often, but every once in a while you'll see a show adapt something and the adaptation of it is a little better than the original source material. I've never checked out the 100 original source material, so I don't know how the book is, but the show's good though. I enjoy the show, that's for sure. Maybe I should finish the 100, says Yassine. I would recommend, again, I still need to see the final season myself, so I don't know how it ends, if they stick the landing or not, but I'm going to finish watching it and check the rest of it out. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, episode 8 will be starting in around 2.5 hours from now, guys. 2.5 hours. Episode 8 of From will be loaded up on our screens in the Discord or on your own MGM app. And segueing back over into From, let's hear some of your thoughts and some of your theories. What are you guys looking forward to in episode 8? What kind of predictions, what kind of hopes, or what characters' storylines are you looking forward to seeing the most in episode 8? I guess we'll start with that. Whether it's Fatima and the weird pregnancy, not pregnancy thing that's going on, Elgin and the Kimono creature, Tabitha and her weird nightmare, Jade and his symbol, Victor and the puppet. What storyline are you guys looking forward to seeing the most in episode 8? And yeah, Smallville was fun. It was a fun show. Absolutely. I thought Smallville was very fun. Not very comic book accurate, but it was just a fun show. Awesome stuff. Jasper, we got Jasper from Kevin. Yes. Now I'm right up there with you in terms of like storylines. I'm looking forward to seeing the most. For me, it's always Jade's storyline, where his storyline is going. I can never get enough of our good pal Jade. He's my favorite character on the show. But after Jade, yeah, I would probably say Victor's storyline is always one that's been just incredibly intriguing. And I cannot wait to see what's going to be going on with Jasper. Now, we do have a few stills from episode 8. Now, of course, none of them are too spoilery, but these are all publicly released stills that everybody has access to. You just have to go to the Amazon Prime press release site, and you can find all of the episode 8 stills. But here we have a few with Victor, and it shows Victor, Tabitha, and Sarah out there in the street holding Jasper. Now, if we remember in episode 7, Victor was getting very frustrated. That was actually one of the scenes that really kind of made me laugh in episode 7. The very beginning of the episode, right after the intro sequence stops playing, we get a quick little scene of Victor up in his room, and you can tell how visibly frustrated he is with this doll, Jasper, because it hasn't been speaking. I'm not afraid of you. I know you can speak. You need to talk to me. And it was just really, it was kind of funny to just see Victor in that state, that frustrated state. He played, and again, Scott McCord just plays this character so freaking well. The dude is just a titan of an actor. But here we have Victor taking Jasper, it looks like, to Father Cautry's basement, which makes sense when we think about it, because when we look back to the Christopher scenes, when we actually first got the reveal of this puppet Jasper and Christopher, when we see Christopher and Jasper speaking to each other, and not so much speaking, it almost looks like they're kind of arguing back and forth. That scene takes place in the basement of the building that would later become Father Cautry's church. So I get the feeling maybe Victor is hoping he'll get some better luck if he brings this thing back down in this basement as opposed to Sarah's, because it looks like he didn't have any luck in Sarah's basement. And I love how it's kind of a callback to not a throwaway line, but a line we got earlier in the season from Victor when he says, the attics are for daytime talk, the basement are for secrets. So Victor's hoping by bringing this puppet down into the basement, he'll have better luck at communicating with it. Obviously, Sarah's basement didn't do the trick, so it looks like now he's taking it down to Father Cautry's basement to hope to have a little bit more luck. And I can't wait to see what's going to be going on here. Like, again, is this puppet really, are we going to go like full on Chucky in this show and going to see an actual puppet get animated and start talking? Or is it going to be a little more subtle, a little more different? Like I always thought, or an interesting way to handle it could potentially be through Sarah. We know Sarah has the ability to communicate with these weird spirits, voices, entities, whatever they are. We know Sarah has a very interesting connection to them. Part of me thought that maybe that's what would happen here, that we wouldn't see the actual puppet start talking, but maybe we would see Sarah kind of communicating with this puppet and relaying what it says to Victor. Or are we just going to go full on puppet talking? Because based on the flashback, it did look like the puppet itself was actually moving and talking. But again, I'm hesitant to go full on Chucky with a show like this. I'm afraid it's going to look a little cheesy compared to like the sophisticated horror that they're usually known for. But I suppose if they play it right, it could be pretty interesting. Seeing Jasper talk and hearing answers finally would be cool. It would, absolutely, right? I mean, it seems like Victor has a very specific story that it wants Jasper to tell for him. He heard Jasper tell this story to Christopher when he was a kid, but for whatever reason, Victor doesn't quite remember it, or he didn't quite hear it all. And now he wants him to retell that story. And whatever the story is, it's a story about this place, about Fromville, and something that'll hopefully help him learn a little bit more even about the 1978 massacre as well, because it seems like it's kind of tied into that too. So yeah, I guess that's kind of my question is, how do you guys think they're going to play it? And let me know what you guys think in the chat. Do you think we are going to see like a full-on Chucky moment scene where this puppet himself actually kind of starts talking and moving around? Or do you think we might see it happen in a different way? Like maybe he'll leave him a message, or maybe we'll see it happen through Sarah. What do you guys think in the chat? Will we see full-on Jasper speaking? And is that what you guys want to see? Let me know what you guys think. Matthews still ain't watching those damn kids. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Remind me of Twilight Zone episode called Talking Tina. Yes, Chris. It is a little bit like that. Yeah. When I first saw that Jasper puppet, I reminded me, and I know it reminded a bunch of you guys as well, because I saw everybody talking about it in the Discord, of that Anthony Hopkins movie with him in the puppet Magic, I believe it's called. That was one of the first things that popped up into my head when I saw this whole Jasper puppet. But no, that makes sense too, Chris. The Talking Tina episode of Twilight Zone, indeed. I hope Jasper doesn't actually talk, or it's a hallucination. It would be weird to see the doll talk, and that was kind of my only little concern with it as well, Breezy K. Just because the horror aspect of From has been very sophisticated up until this point, and maybe this is just a personal bias for me personally, but I've never been a Chucky fan. Those are some of the only horror movies that I just absolutely cannot stand. I don't know why. I've just never been a fan of Chucky. I never understood how this small little doll was capable of so much destruction. Grab this thing, rip it apart, boot it through the upright. Like, how are you getting defeated by a freaking doll? Then again, of course, it is a horror movie, so you have to have those kind of aspects. But no, I mean, again, maybe it's just kind of my personal bias, but I was always wondering if this Jasper puppet is kind of like just actually talking itself. If there's a way to do that, that would be interesting. That wouldn't look too kind of weird, but with how sophisticated the horror has been on this show, it might look a little out of place. That was kind of one of my concerns as well. But either way, I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do. I'm definitely looking forward to it for sure. Let's see what else we got. Anyone else have a feeling that the kimono lady is just as bad as the voices talking to Sarah and telling her to off the boy? I am very concerned with the kimono creature, and I know we've been speaking about this a lot. But yeah, that was one of my first thoughts as well. I mean, as soon as we hear this kimono creature kind of whisper in Elgin's ear in episode 6, she comes up behind him, and then Ravener always points out it's always creepy when something comes up from behind you, and he's totally right. It just makes things way scarier when you see something just approaching from behind you, grabbing Elgin, whispering in his ear. And we see it using the pretty similar tactics that these voices used to use on Sarah as well. Whatever these voices were telling Sarah, they were clearly promising her that if you do what we say, we can get your brother and everybody else home. This was the only way to go home. And now we hear this kimono creature offering Elgin the exact same thing, that tantalizing hope of escape. Now, does this kimono creature really want to help? Is she really being altruistic? Or is it, like you mentioned, a little similar to the whole Sarah thing, where maybe this kimono creature is manipulating Elgin into unwittingly doing something awful? I don't know, but based on some of these stills, I don't have a whole lot of confidence in the kimono creature. Don't have a lot of confidence. Oh my God, y'all, is that freaking doll gonna talk this episode? I'm gonna cry. First words, Jasper will say, won't say another word till Elgin changes clothing. Oh man, people in the chat were calling him Smelgin last week, which had to be in fucking tears. Fucking Smelgin. That was a funny one. Whoever came up with that one, kudos to you, because that was a really, really funny one. He's not Elgin anymore, he's Smelgin. That was a really good one. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this thing kind of talks. And yeah, the Jasper scream jump scare is haunting. It is a little creepy, isn't it? I mean, not only the jump scare, but even the voice that Christopher was using on this Jasper doll was just super creepy. Hello, Victor. Hello, Victor. Like, get the fuck out of here, you creep. What are you doing? Get out of here. That would be scary if it started running. That would be just absolutely creepy. Like I'm hoping they're not going to go full on Chucky like that. We're gonna actually see this doll running around. I'm hoping it's going to be more along the lines of just the doll kind of sitting in that chair and maybe speaking and maybe moving its head a little bit like it did in the previous flashback. But yeah, wouldn't that be nuts if we see this thing just get up out of the chair and start running around, goes for a kitchen knife, like straight up Chucky? I don't think we're going to see that, but it would be kind of funny. Would be kind of funny. I'm so excited about this episode. I'm about to miss a big boxing fight, and I love boxing. Ty, I am right there with you, my friend. Yes, and usually every Saturday night, whenever there's a big bout, usually me and my father kind of get together and watch them. But whenever I'm covering a show, I usually always have a pretty big Saturday night show. So we always have to kind of miss these big title cards that we really want to see. And with his kind of health condition right now, he hasn't really been up for it anyway. But I'm with you there, man. I am with you there. It's never fun. For me, it's never fun missing a bout. and it's never fun missing my Boston Celtics play. I'm a huge NBA fan as well. But luckily, the Celtics aren't playing tonight. That's tomorrow night. That is tomorrow night. Do you think the puppet will have its own thoughts, or will it be Christopher's thoughts manifested in Jasper? Now, that's an interesting question, Andrew. I don't know. I mean, like, when I think about this whole Jasper puppet, part of me wonders, like, does this thing have its own sentience? Like, or is it maybe possessed by something? Is there some kind of entity, or entity, for lack of a better term, possessing this Jasper puppet? Does it have something inside it, or is it along the lines of a kind of a cursed object, maybe? I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure. I kind of go back and forth on what exactly is going to be happening with this puppet Jasper. Or, as you mentioned, could that potentially be Christopher's kind of spirit trapped inside the doll that will be talking to Victor? I mean, I suppose that's possible, but I think whatever Victor is hoping to speak to seems like something that has been inside the doll long before Jasper. And that's why I wonder where this doll came from. Is this a puppet that Christopher himself brought to Fromville? Or is this a puppet that Christopher found when he was already inside Fromville? I guess is the big question. Because if this was something he found that was already here, who knows what kind of ancient, old, weird being entity could be locked inside this puppet thing. But if Christopher brought this puppet with him, then it opens up some other questions as to, okay, what exactly happened to this puppet and why is it speaking now? What happened to make it speak? What made it animated? Does it have, again, is it some kind of entity that's trapped inside there, or what? I'm not quite sure. I kind of always thought that there was some kind of entity maybe trapped in it, or if not trapped in it, maybe some kind of entity that doesn't have a physical human, not a physical form at all, any kind of physical form, because it seems like some of these spirits, for lack of a better term, are kind of the disembodied spirit, where they don't have a physical form. I was thinking maybe it was something similar to that was just using the puppet as a way to communicate with people every once in a while. Like, what if this thing that the puppet was, what if the puppet, the Jasper puppet, was similar to some of the voices that Sarah was hearing, maybe, but only this time it was using this puppet to communicate to people through. But I don't know. I mean, could it be a cursed puppet, a entity trapped inside the puppet? We really have nothing to go on at this point. But in terms of it being Christopher's thoughts, that's an interesting idea. That's an interesting one. And welcome, Snug. Welcome.
Hey, how's it going? I just got to say that the scene where Victor's trying to interrogate the puppet. I mean, he's Scotty McCord is such a great actor for this.
So good. Yeah.
But Henry, I don't know the actor's name off the top of my head, but he's
Robert
good too,
Joy.
because he's trying to deal with the idea that his 40-some-year-old kid is a complete nut, and it's just a great scene.
It is such a good scene, and you imagine putting yourself in Henry's shoes. Where your son has been locked in this place for so long, decades, spent by himself, and now you're reunited after all these years, but now you're left with picking up the pieces, trying to put the damaged pieces back together. So I can only imagine how Henry feels as a father seeing his son in this state, because Henry still doesn't really know a whole lot about Fromville yet and what's even possible here. So when he sees Victor trying to get this puppet to speak, he's thinking he's absolutely nuts. He's thinking, okay, like, my son is seriously damaged. He's trying to get a doll to talk, but that's just because he doesn't have the correct context to understand that those kind of things just happen here in Fromville. Victor isn't crazy at all. He just knows a lot more about this place than everybody else. Yes, he's traumatized. I would definitely say Victor is incredibly traumatized, but he's not crazy. He's far from crazy. He's actually very smart. So I thought
Henry
that was a really good scene as well.
Yeah, and Henry does admit that, to Donna over their, vodka or whatever they're making, their rock cut stuff that they're making in the bar, that he felt that way, that he didn't, that he wished that none of it had happened, that he hadn't been reunited. So, I mean, he's at least honest with himself. The character is about where they're at, and I think it makes it a little bit more realistic. It makes it a little bit more real. Yeah.
It does. Shows often try to portray, humans as, like, just completely altruistic or completely dark, but that's just not reality. Just about every person on the planet has both inside them, light and dark, and it's often a manner of which impulses do you act on? Do you want to be good and or do you want to act out your baser instincts, kind of thing?
Right.
And yeah,
Right.
like that scene, like you said, it showcases Henry as a human. He's just a regular human being who has what as he believes a incredibly traumatized son that he doesn't quite know how to connect with yet. So yeah,
Right.
when we hear him say, even if it was only just for it only lasted a split second, but he still admitted to even having that thought to Donna, where it was easier for him when he believed Victor was dead. The thought might have only lasted a split second, but the fact that the thought even entered his head, it's like, okay, they're very much showcasing Henry as just your average, good old-fashioned conflicted father, where he's very
Yeah.
much struggling to kind of connect with Victor and to kind of create this kind of dialogue with him. And I love how they're still very much in that kind of awkward phase. And that scene was really good because we see that one part where Scott McCord goes to the window and he grabs the rope and he starts like tugging on it in like an angry manner. He's like,
Yeah.
like he really plays himself. Like he is just
He
that
does.
kind of
Yeah.
10-year-old kid still. Like he's such a good actor, Scott McCord is.
He's got to
No,
get
that was
some
a really good scene.
recognition too.
He better. I mean,
Yeah.
between him and Harold Perrineau, if Harold doesn't get recognition for best lead, and if Scott McCord doesn't get recognition for best supporting, it's complete bullshit at this point. I mean, I watch a lot of shows, and there's a lot of really good shows out there that have a lot of good performances, and some performances from actors I would put right on par with Harold Perrineau and Scott McCord, like Hiroki Sanada in season 1 of Shogun, for instance.
Oh yeah, he's
Just
great. Yeah.
incredible acting. Some of the best acting I've ever seen in my life came in Shogun season 1 from Hiroki. But I would honestly say Harold and Scott McCord, they're right there. They are right there on par with Hiroki Sanada in terms of just pure old acting skill and acting chops and making you believe that they are these characters. Victor, maybe even more so than Boyd. Like the skill that it takes to slip into a character like this with all of his kind of damage and deficiencies and everything that he has to showcase, that is not an easy role to portray.
Especially to make it believable. Yeah.
Yeah, they're some of the best actors on TV right now, I would say. We got Maria D for $9.99. Thank you so much, Maria D. Hope Elgin sheds light on what is going on with Fatima. Yes, indeed. What exactly is going on with Fatima? Now, of course, in the episode 8 stills, we have this one of Fatima out there in the woods, which kind of correlates with the image that was leaked a little earlier before the filming actually began. The official MGM account posted this photo way back, just when they had first started filming, season 3. And a lot of us were wondering what the heck was going on. Why are Boyd and Fatima out there in that shack? Like, what circumstance of events is going to lead to this? And now at least we're getting some more context as to why we see Boyd and Fatima out there in the shack. Based on the end of episode 8, the way we see the horrific death of young Tilly, quote unquote young Tilly. It's looking like episode 8 is starting off with at least this kind of little murder investigation thing that'll probably be happening that'll last a little while, because based on the trailer, it looks like Fatima and Ellis successfully flee the scene of the crime, and then we have some random from Colony House kind of stumbles into the greenhouse and finds the body, followed by a nice little scene of Boyd, Acosta, Donna, and Kenny entering the greenhouse, and Boyd asking if anybody has seen anything. So at least at the very beginning of the episode, they're not going to know that this was Fatima. Now, I know we talked about a little bit about this last week, but Boyd and Donna, of all people, I have to imagine they're going to take one look at this. And if they're not going to instantly know it was Fatima, I imagine they're at least going to instantly suspect Fatima a little bit, because they were talking about this very same thing happening. In episode 7, Donna was telling Boyd that she can't risk Fatima becoming another Abby. And she specifically used Abby as an example. And we all know what happened with Abby. She went on the crazed killing spree. And as much as Donna said that she wants to help Fatima and Ellis, she has the entirety of Colony House to worry about. So I wouldn't be too surprised if this does create a little bit of a rift between Boyd and Donna in terms of how they both choose to handle this. Boyd, he's going to want to protect Fatima and Ellis, whereas Donna's going to be thinking more about Colony House as a whole and how do we keep everybody safe from her. So I wouldn't be too surprised if we see a little bit of not a clash, not a full-on clash, but if we see a little bit of a difference in opinion in terms of how they handle this. And then, of course, you have the wild card. You have Officer Acosta, who is going to be throwing her hat into the mix. She sees herself as the main authority in town. She kind of completely challenges Boyd's authority in episode 7, talking about, I'm a real cop. I'm not just playing pretend in a hand-me-down blazer. It's like she really looks at herself like the authority in town. So with her being a cop, I definitely think she is going to throw her hat in the ring as well, and she's definitely going to want to at least try and solve this thing. And I wouldn't be surprised if that leads to her and Boyd having some interesting difference in opinion at the very least. So this whole Fatima killing Tilly thing, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, and what kind of how long is it really going to last until the town actually finds out that it was Fatima? Because I get the feeling it's not going to be too long. The episode might start off with all of them wondering who did this, but I wouldn't be surprised if by the time we get midway through the episode, everybody finds out at some point that this was indeed Fatima. I don't think they'll be able to keep that a secret for too long.
Well, it'll be, they'll be asking everybody, and someone will say, "Well, hey, where's Fatima at?"
Where's Fatima?
Yeah. And if Ellis flees too, then that pretty much narrows it down.
It's going to make it look even worse. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. You're right. Absolutely. Again, because you have a murder take place. What's the first thing you do? You question everybody. You question everybody in the town. And if all of a sudden everybody's there to be questioned and Fatima and Ellis are the only two missing, it paints them in a bad light. So you're absolutely right. But yeah, and I'm definitely, but in terms of Maria's chat here, I'm definitely hoping that Elgin sheds a little bit of light as to what the heck is going on here, because we do see in these episode 8 stills, it looks like Elgin goes and grabs Fatima out of the shack. We see this one still of Ellis and Boyd. Looks like Ellis is looking around, probably looking for Fatima. So I imagine they take Fatima to the shack probably early on in the episode. And then at some point in the episode, we see Elgin come to the shack probably and take Fatima away. Because next we see Elgin taking Fatima down into the root cellar. Which is totally not ominous at all. And he's even still got the freaking Polaroid around his neck. What exactly is going on here? I mean, what did this kimono creature tell Elgin? What does Elgin know about Fatima? Is he doing this to help her? Or is he doing this to maybe lock her up so she doesn't become a danger to more people? Maybe the kimono creature filled Elgin in with what is really happening to her, and Elgin knows she's going to become an even bigger danger to people, and he's about to lock her up in that little spare room. Who knows? But I'm looking forward to this scene, and right there with you, Maria. I hope Elgin at least sheds a little bit more light on as to what is really happening with Fatima. We need a definitive answer. There's a lot of really great theories out there. Theories that I've really enjoyed all season in terms of Fatima birthing a monster baby, Fatima herself turning into a monster. A lot of really good theories out there. But we need something definitive. We need a real answer as to what is really happening with Fatima. And I'm hoping we'll get that this season. Maybe not in this episode, but I'm hoping we'll get that before the season ends. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And thank you so much, Maria, for the $9.99. We also got Omar Vasquez. What is up, Omar? Thank you for the $10. Appreciate you. Part 1, I was never convinced Tilly was sus. The biggest thing that made me feel like Tilly might be a force for good were the tarot cards. Everyone sees it as sus, but I think it's the opposite. And maybe it is. Like, maybe it's not. And again, I've said time and time again where, I think the whole Tilly is sus thing is funny. I mean, it is kind of funny. It's kind of became a little bit of a meme even at some point. Yeah. But in terms of like Tilly herself, part of me always was hoping that she was just a little bit more along the lines of just this kind of quirky grandmother type who just wanted to help. Maybe she realized that she was coming to the end of her life, which she very much was, and she wanted to do a little bit of good before she kind of shuffled off her mortal coil. She saw this young couple in peril. Fatima very afraid about what is happening to her. Tilly's a little bit older. She has a lot of life experience. She's been through pregnancy before. So yeah, maybe it really was just as simple as Tilly just wanted to help out Fatima a little bit. And if you can you leave these starred when I'm done reading them, if possible? I want to keep a log of them.
Sure.
I just want to start thanking people at the end of the stream, everyone who sends one in. But no, I mean, what do you think about Tilly Snug? After seeing everything that we've seen, do you think there's a possibility that she was still maybe more than meets the eye, or do you think she really was just this kind of quirky grandmother character who just wanted to maybe help a little bit?
Well, the one thing I always kind of go back to is that I'm still thinking that there's got to be something with the colors in these, and she's usually coated. She's usually coated with the light blue, and then when Fatima kills her, the kind of orange, yellow orange, scissors or shears that she uses to kill her. So I suspect that there's something more there, but yeah, I'm not sure. I think that there might be something. I think she's maybe something more, but what, I don't think we know yet. So
Okay.
I still think she was a little sus, but I think everyone was sus.
I mean, again, sometimes you can't ignore the sus at the end of the day.
Right.
But no, I'm hoping she was more just a quirky grandmother type. And welcome, Aldous. Thank you for joining us, my friend.
Absolutely happy to be here again this week. So
absolutely,
I'm beside myself, man.
I know, Fanny Pack Granny is gone.
I know, we lost Dale and Fanny Pack Granny on 2 episodes.
I'm sorry. I hope I didn't miss it if somebody else brought it up. But has anybody brought up? Do they think with her passing, the fanny pack of holding will no longer work?
Ooh, that's a good. I mean, I always kind of looked at it like the TARDIS, where it was just way bigger on the inside than the out, and who knows what she had hidden in that freaking thing. It was, like you said, the fanny pack of holdings. I don't know. I guess the question now is, because we saw all of the kind of the talk around the character of Tilly, where you had one portion of the fandom thinking that she was sus and that there was something a little bit more than meets the eye with Tilly that they just haven't revealed yet. And then you had the other side of the aisle where people were thinking that maybe Tilly was just this kind of quirky grandmother type character who maybe just wanted to help because she was close to dying. What about you, Aldous? After seeing how everything played out, do you think Tilly was just the regular old grandmother character who wanted to help, or do you still think there's a possibility that she was more than she said?
I think this is one of those things where we're not going to get an answer to what she was now, but at some point next season, there's going to be something, and you're going to go, oh, and it's all going to make sense.
Yeah.
Okay. I could see that. I could potentially see that.
It could be we've already seen it because she brought the tarot cards with her, so you couldn't have done that little reading where the crows reacted such to it. So I still think that she was sus, but maybe she was a piece that had to be taken off the board. Going back to like the game analogy. I don't know. I think we'll find out eventually.
I think we'll find out eventually. And as Steve brings up, are we sure Tilly is even dead? I mean, I guess not. I mean, it's really, I feel like once you see a body, that's the only time I can definitively say someone's dead. So I do get the feeling she is dead. But if Tilly was sus, if there was something a little bit more to Tilly, then maybe not. One line that I kind of always hone back in on was the one line she says in this episode before she dies, a few scenes earlier when she's talking to Ellis in the kitchen. And Ellis asks her, are you afraid of death? Because he knows that she's terminally ill. She doesn't have a whole lot of time left. So he asks her, are you afraid to die? And she says, I was at first, until I realized that death wasn't the end. And then we see her literally die later on in that same episode. I'm thinking, okay, was that some kind of foreshadowing for Tilly making some kind of appearance after death? Maybe. I wouldn't be too. I do think she is dead, but I wouldn't be too surprised if in a later date, maybe not even this season, maybe if Fatima survives season 3 and makes it to season 4, I wouldn't be too surprised if we saw some kind of scene where Tilly kind of returns to Fatima in a similar manner to how Cautry, appears to Boyd, how the dead bartender Tom appears to Jade. I wouldn't be too surprised if we see Tilly, Fanny Pack Granny, have a similar scene where she starts appearing to Fatima maybe in season 4 as some kind of form of torment, to kind of play on the guilt of her killing her maybe. I wouldn't be surprised if we see her again. But I do think she's dead. I definitely do think she's dead. But I could be wrong. Well, who knows? Maybe she is still around. Maybe she's still kicking. Maybe she's going to get up and just walk it off. 'Tis but a scratch. Maybe. We got a part 2 from Omar as well. Thank you so much, Omar. Part 2 from stops people when they do things that aren't in the best interest of Fromville. Jim with the radio tower and the storm came in. Yep. If Tilly was bad, then Fromville wouldn't have interrupted. Ooh, interesting. Yeah, because we have seen, like you said, clear instances where this place will actively work against you if you're trying to do things like escape, trying to learn more information. Fromville itself does not want you doing such things. So did Fromville itself see Tilly as some sort of threat to Fatima, maybe? I don't know. I tend to think it was more of just one big tragic accident, personally. But who knows? No, that's a very interesting point you bring up, Omar. And thank you so much again for the $20. Wow, I owe you a whoa. But yeah, you know, like you said, Jim and Jade with the radio tower. Instant Storm gets sent to kind of just knock them off course. We're seeing the snow in season 3 being worse and worse and worse, which seemed to be like another kind of punishment, as it were, for them meddling and breaking the quote-unquote rules. So the show has definitely been establishing that kind of aspect where if people try too hard to escape, if they try too hard to look for answers, something bad is going to happen. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe, you know, if Tilly was bad, you know, Fromville maybe wouldn't have interrupted. That's certainly an interesting point. We got Jen Hack, who's been a member for 16 months. Wow, thank you so much, Jen, for being a member for, 16 freaking months. That is nothing short of awesome. Thank you. Love you all. Thanks. This is a fun community. It really is. I absolutely love this community. I love this show. I love the fandom. It's been one of the coolest fandoms that we've been a part of, you know, out of all the shows that we cover, and we cover a lot of different shows. I really, really enjoy the From show and the From fandom as a whole. You guys have been awesome this year. You guys have been so freaking supportive this year in terms of showing up for the streams, watching the videos, sharing them out, commenting, liking. You guys have been just, I never in a million years would have expected support like this. But no, it's thanks to you guys. Like you said, the community is such an awesome community to be a part of. And I'm just super honored to be even a small part of it. So thank you so much, Jen. And thank you for being a member for freaking, 16 months. Damn.
Nice.
Crazy awesome.
That is crazy. That is crazy awesome indeed. Also crazy awesome is Kiwi Skirt herself gifting 5 memberships. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 memberships gifted from the great Kiwi Skirt. Thank you so much for that, Kiwi. Looks like Alice 5 is now a member. Aldous is now a member. Joe Knows is now a member. Sarah's Stories is now a member. And Kel Bishop is also now a member. Welcome one, welcome all. Be sure to make use of all of the awesome custom Fromville emojis we have down there. And thank you so much, Kiwi, for the gift of the 5 memberships. Awesome stuff. All right, I am caught up on the supers. Let's dive back into the chat and see what you guys are saying. Jasper, I ain't saying nothing, says Tyler B. Hey, maybe it'll be that. I mean, wouldn't it just be incredibly just underwhelming if that really was the case, if we just got nothing out of Jasper? Please tell me that's not the case. Please tell me no. Let's see what else we got. 10 avocados for me. Thank you so much, Jen. No, you guys get 10 avocados. You guys get 20 avocados as far as I'm saying, as I'm concerned. 20 out of 10. Just completely top scores from top to bottom. Best chat on YouTube. Awesome stuff. Hell yeah. Love how the show has blown up in popularity. It really has. And I feel like there's positives Absolutely. To that and negatives to that on both sides. Personally, I love how the fandom is getting bigger and bigger. That is great. More people talking about the show, the better, as far as I'm concerned. But we're at the point now where the show is starting to get so big where people are starting to leak things. And that usually only happens when shows start to get really, really popular. Like if anybody remembers back to Game of Thrones, when we got to like the final 4 seasons of Game of Thrones, every single year the finale got leaked weeks before it aired. Every single season for like the last 3 or 4 seasons. And it's unfortunate. You hate to see stuff like that happen where now we are getting to the point where From is getting so big. We are getting so many eyes on this show that for the first time ever, we're starting to see really, really big leaks. Apparently there's some big leaks going around in places like Reddit, some of the Facebook groups and places like that, where people are posting whole outlines of like the final episode and some of the big things that happen in there. And again, this is purposely why I stay very far away from Reddit and Facebook, most importantly. I've never been a big Reddit fan myself. I don't think I've ever even set up a Reddit account, and I'm not very active on Facebook either. So it's been kind of easy for me to avoid the spoilers. But for those of you who do frequent places like Reddit and Facebook groups and stuff like that, yeah, the spoilers were just absolutely everywhere. And this is the first year something like that has happened. Like even back during the end of season 1, back during season 2, we never really had the problem where we had to worry about big old spoilers being kind of just shared around the fandom, because it was a smaller fandom at that point. It was kind of just like your hardcore From fans that were watching. But now the show is getting bigger and bigger that, yes, we're starting to have some stuff get leaked. But again, I do like seeing the fandom grow. You just hate to see that aspect enter the fandom.
Well, as long as it doesn't get so big that we get the Starbucks product placement.
Oof, don't want that. Don't want that. But yeah, it's just it is awesome to see it grow, and if nothing else, it is going to help guarantee that we're going to get more seasons of From, which I don't think we're at risk of ever really getting this show canceled. It seems like this show was even during season 2, the fandom was getting really big. So I don't think we're at any risk of getting the show canceled. But I did see a few people asking why we haven't seen the confirmation that we're going to get a season 4 yet. And usually the MGM shows, that's kind of just how they do it. They'll wait for the entire season to play. As soon as the finale happens, once From season 3 is done, I imagine we'll probably get confirmation that season 4 has been ordered not very long after, and hopefully they'll start filming not very long after. It sucks that they wait that long. It would be nice if they kind of already got a green light for season 4, so they could already get to start, so they could start filming earlier. Because you definitely would love to see season 4 in 2025 if possible. And I do think that definitely is possible if we get a green light fairly early after season 3 ends. And, I imagine they're probably well already into the writing phase for season 4. So really all they have to do is film it, post-production and all that. So if we get a pretty early green light that season 4 is a go right when season 3 ends, then yeah, I think it's very plausible that we'll get season 4 in 2025, probably a little bit towards the end of the year, fall or winter. But we'll probably definitely have season 4 in 2025 which is how it should be. You hate waiting 2 years for shows, basically, or a year and a half in between shows. That sucks.
Yeah, there was some talk in the Discord about them doing 5 seasons, but I didn't go back through it to see where people got that. But that's at least what people were saying in the Discord. I think that's about the right number of seasons myself.
I think 5 or 6 around there, I think would be a good moment. I mean, if John Griffin is saying that season 3 is the end of the beginning, then that stands to reason we're just getting to the end of the beginning. I would say at least 3 more. I'm hoping we'll get around 6 seasons personally, but however many seasons they need to properly tell the story, that's how many I hope they get. No more, no less. If they need 5 seasons, if they can do it in 5 seasons, that's all they need, great, give them the 5. Yeah. If they need 6, give them the 6. However many they need to properly tell the story. That's kind of where I'm hoping. But yeah, I'd be surprised if we got less than 5. I by no means will season 4 be the last season. By no means. There's no way. But yeah, I could see 5 or 6 maybe. Could easily see 5 or 6. Awesome stuff, guys. Awesome stuff. And thank you so much for everybody in the chat for all the congratulations. But honestly, it's you guys in the chat who have been so supportive. You guys are the ones who have created this awesome little fandom that we have here. So I'm a small part of it. You guys are the big part. But thank you. I very much appreciate the sentiment. All right, let's see what else we got. Diving into episode 8. Can't wait for the new episode. I've been trying to stay clear of spoilers as much as possible. Yeah, me too. And again, it's kind of easy to stay clear of spoilers if you stay away from places like Reddit and Facebook and some of the other places that have heavy From fandom discussions. It's pretty easy to stay away from the spoilers if you kind of don't frequent those places. My recommendation would be, just stay away from Reddit and Facebook first and foremost. You'll probably see a spoiler if you're scrolling through Facebook or if you're on Reddit. That place is just spoiler territory right now. But between here on this channel, and I know there's a few other From channels that are doing everything they possibly can to avoid spoilers as well. If you stay, between some of those channels, hang out in the Discord a little bit, you should be able to remain spoiler free. There are no spoilers in our Discord as well. So yeah, it's tough. I mean, you hate that fans would even have to kind of limit their interaction just to avoid spoilers. You hate that that's even a thing. But unfortunately, we do have a very small minority out there who like to ruin it for everybody else. It sucks, but it is what it is.
It's unfortunate, yeah.
But no, it's unfortunate, yeah. But one thing we will always do is we will stay far away from spoilers. I don't want to be spoiled either. I want to go into these final 3 episodes knowing what's going to happen. I mean, once you're spoiled on a show like this, it takes a lot of the fun out of it.
Yeah.
The big part of the show is seeing what is coming around the corner, what new mysteries, what new twists, what new turns, what is going to happen. So when you learn things ahead of time, it really does. It takes a lot of the fun out of it. So I don't want to get spoiled either. That's why me personally, I am only discussing From with you guys in the chat when we do our live streams. I might pop into the Discord every once in a while and maybe engage in some conversation there. But between this channel and my Discord, that's pretty much the only places that I've been hanging out lately. And I've been able to avoid spoilers because of it. But yeah, I guess we'll see. I guess we shall see. Jasper says nothing, but wakes up in the night and kills someone in their sleep. Now then we're heading into real Chucky territory if that's the case. Like if that happens, we're really heading into Chucky territory then. And again, I don't really want to go full on Chucky territory with this whole puppet. So I'm hoping we avoid full on Chucky. But yeah, I guess you never know. You never know what's possible. You never know what's possible. Let's see what else we got. But yes, what other storylines are you guys looking forward to in episode 8 and beyond? Again, we have a lot of really good storylines that are playing out right now between Jasper and the puppet, Fatima and whatever's going on with her, Tabitha and the dream nightmare that she's trying to uncover, Jade and the symbol and everything Jade's trying to figure out. We have a lot of interesting storylines that are playing right now. So I guess I'll ask you guys on the panel and in the chat, Aldous, is there one particular storyline you're looking forward to seeing unfold more than the others?
I don't understand the angle of bringing Victor's father in, and I'm curious to see what he's going to be the keystone for opening something.
Yeah.
Whether it's a realization or a reveal of the past, but I'm really curious to because it's such an interesting decision. It's the only factor that actually affects them in Fromville of her trip back and then to return, right? So she did the full loop. She bounced out and came back and she brought Victor's dad. There's got to be a reason for that.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. There's got to be something.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like you said, all this hype of sending Tabitha to the real world. And we're all wondering what exactly is the purpose? Why was Tabitha sent here to begin with? And part of me really thinks that that's why she was sent there, just to bring Henry back. But if that's the case, why? What exactly is Henry's ultimate role going to be here in Fromville? So yeah, I'm right there with you. I can't wait to see what they truly had planned for Henry. Part of me was really worried in the beginning that he was going to kind of get killed off right before he had a chance to reunite with his son. I thought that would have been a very kind of powerful scene, would have been heartbreaking, but a very powerful scene nonetheless. But now that they have done the reunion, it's like, okay, now what do they have planned for this Henry character? Is he heading for some kind of tragic death at some point, or do they have a specific story point that they're going to be doing with Henry? So I'm looking forward to seeing what it's going to be.
Yeah, I still think that eventually Henry's going to be the one that's going to be able to get Victor to open up. But it doesn't seem like it's working like that so far, so I could be wrong. The other thing, I think that what her going back into the real world and just immediately coming back kind of says that there's no real easy escape from this. Once you're trapped in there, you might get out, but you're going to get drawn back right back in. So they're going to have to break whatever cycle is going on before in order to go home.
No, I 100% agree. I 100% agree. There's no way it's going to be just as simple as them finding a way out. Because like you said, we saw what happens when you find a way out. You just get pulled right back in, like Tabitha did. So yeah, if they do find a way out, they're going to have to complete whatever kind of quest they need to complete, whatever they need to be, as you mentioned. It's got to be something a little bit more than just finding the way out. They can't just escape. There is some kind of objective they need to complete before they escape, and that's why I always kind of go back to the Ethan quest metaphor. Where, and that's the thing. These mystery box stories, they will kind of tell you the answer to it super early on. You just don't have a lot of context from it. So when that quick little line came from a character like Ethan, where this is a quest and we need to complete the quest in order to go home, and the closer you get to the end of the quest, that's when it gets the scariest. You know, we might look at that at the beginning as just a way of a kid's interpretation of this place, but no, that's far more than just a kid's interpretation of this story. That very well could be the direct allegory for the entire story, and I think it is. So I agree with you. I think it's very much going to be one of those things where they need to complete some kind of, for lack of a better term, quest before they leave. It's not going to be as simple as just finding a way out. It can't be. Can't be that simple. Cannot be that simple. But what about you, Snug? You have any other storylines you're looking forward to diving into in episode 8?
I thought of something and I lost it, but I guess I would say, where does Acosta fit into this? Because she came back too, and she seems to be a little bit too full of herself. I mean, it seems to be implied that she's fresh out of the academy. So if she's fresh out of the academy, then she's acting awful tough.
But that's overcompensation, right?
Yeah,
overcompensation.
I mean, you're in a strange place. She's falling back on training. She's taught to try to control the situation. She's doing what she thinks is best, but she's also riddled with guilt, and that's where the writers did a good turn by having her shoot Nikki, because all of her training led her to the point, but it failed her when it mattered most, and she discharged her weapon at a target that she did not recognize as a threat. So she's relying on her training, but at the same time she's ultimately questioning it because it's failed her, or she failed her training, right? So now she's overcompensating, and then the main antagonist to that is the current authority figure, which is an immediate threat to her because it took away the one representation that she had, which was her gun.
Yes, indeed. It's a power play for her. And I think that's why we're going to see Acosta kind of insert herself into this murder investigation, however long it lasts, with them discovering the body. Because again, just based on the episode 8 trailer, it looks like Ellis and Fatima successfully flee the scene, and then we have just a random from Colony House discovering the body, and then we hear Boyd saying, okay, did anybody see anything? So at least for the beginning of the episode, they're not going to know it was Fatima that did this right away. And I think I agree. I think we're going to see Acosta kind of assert herself right into there and try to act like she knows how to solve this thing. She's the real cop. She's going to solve this murder. And not only that, I imagine she's looking for, for brownie points, for lack of better terms as well. Like you mentioned, she's killed somebody on her way in here. So not only did her training fail her, but the entire town is really kind of turned against her. There's not many people in the town that like her. So I imagine she's going to see this murder as an opportunity for her to kind of prove herself worthy of the town, to win some friends, for lack of a better term, solve who did this murder, and again, get some brownie points for it. But
absolutely.
But yeah, I don't know. I think we could see a little bit more of a clash between her and Boyd, for sure.
Yeah. I guess other than that, I want to know if there's anything to these color schemes, because it seems like there's a lot of coding, and it can't be accidental. There's something intentional behind it. So I don't think we'll get that until maybe season 4, but we might get maybe a little bit more. So because we have the red door and the red of the kimono,
the red symbol.
Yeah, the red symbol, the red Squidward monster. Yeah.
Yep. Same thing with the kimono creature. She's always wearing that red kimono, and even the red rocks that Tabitha is seeing in a dream that are near Cannibal Village.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely something to color in the show. Again, we've seen really nothing that is a direct representation of that red symbol. We've seen the other symbol all over the place. Jade's been seeing it ever since the show first began. But the other symbol, this one here, we haven't really seen any example of this other symbol really anywhere else in the show. And I'm wondering what's going to happen. Like, when are we finally going to see what this symbol is all about? Hell, we still have no idea what even this one really is about either. But in terms of this bigger red one, we haven't seen this one anywhere else in the show anywhere. But no, when I saw that red door, that was the first thing that popped into my head as well. I'm like, okay, we got this red door here, very similar to the red symbol, very similar to the red that the kimono creature is always in, and even the same kind of red tone of the rocks that Tabitha sees. So yeah, is there something more to color? I don't know. Maybe. But hopefully, if there is, hopefully we'll learn what that is. Like, why, what is it about colors in the show? Because I'm still not 100% convinced that there even is any deeper meaning to any of these colors. I think it could potentially just be random colors that maybe we're reading a little too much into, but there could be a deeper meaning to it. There very well could be a deeper meaning too, as well. I could be very wrong. Because we do see them a lot. Whether it's the pinwheel on the Victor map, or even the Ferris wheel, the little merry-go-round that's all these different colors. Like, so a lot of people think that the colors have a deeper meaning, and they very well could. They certainly could. That's possible.
Yeah,
Tis
we'll find out.
We shall find out. Yeah, we shall find out. I want to know if Fatima will be able to survive. I guess that's a big question. Is Fatima ultimately going to survive all of this? I mean, she's been going through quite a lot. And I love how the show has been playing it a little bit kind of ambiguous, where she's kind of the only one that's seeing these things happen to her. She sees her stomach start sucking all in. It starts looking like she's changing, and then boom, Ellis comes into the room and she's completely fine. So I love the ambiguity of what is happening to Fatima, where sometimes she's the only one seeing what's happening to her, but ultimately, what is going on? Is she pregnant? Is there really something inside her that the ultrasound just couldn't see? Is there something changing inside Fatima that's her? Is it her that's actually changing? Or is all of this potentially really just psychosomatic? Again, when you're eating rotten food, that's one thing, but when you upgrade from rotten food into eating human flesh, I tend to think that's not just in her head. I think something is really wrong with her. What about you guys? I guess that'll be the question. Do you think it's in her head, or do you think there's something really wrong with her?
But didn't they do a pregnancy test? Am I misremembering that? I thought they did a pregnancy test.
Christy did a pregnancy test, but we didn't see it. So I imagine it was probably one of those home remedy pregnancy tests where maybe they tested the urine and maybe they just got it wrong. Or as Christy thought, maybe it was psychosomatic. They used to call it a hysterical pregnancy, where the female body would literally exhibit signs of being pregnant without being pregnant. And I think that's why Christy brings up the hysterical pregnancy thing, because yes, she goes to Christy about midway through season 2, right after Smiley died, and she asked Christy, I need a pregnancy test. And Christy is the one who told her, yes, you are pregnant. And I think that's why we're seeing Christy be a little bit snappy in episode 7, when Boyd is kind of asking her, what's going on, and she's kind of snapping back at Boyd, like, you should have told me right away when you found out about her eating this rotten food. And it's like, okay, maybe, but I think part of that is maybe a little bit of Christy's internal guilt. You are the one who kind of set her on this path. You are the one who told her she was pregnant, and now you're finding out something different. So I wouldn't be surprised if Christy has a little bit of guilt for that, knowing that she put this pregnancy in her head in the first place. But
that's a good point.
Yeah, could be.
But what do you guys think? Do you think, after everything we've seen between her eating the rotten food, and everybody in the chat as well, I'd love to know what you guys think in the chat. After everything we've seen between her eating the food, her eating literally human freaking blood, and then the possibility of this being psychosomatic, what do you guys think? Do you think this is ultimately just in Fatima's head, or is there something really wrong with her? Again, when you upgrade to human blood, I don't think that's just in your head.
No,
Aldous, what do you think?
No, I do. Well, it depends, because when you say, is it something in her head? I mean, yeah, I think to a degree it's almost like an infection, right? Like, you can't see it. You can't explain it away. You have to you have to do a swab and test for it. Something of Fromville is in her. It's just a question of how does that manifest. So is it in her head? No, it is. But it's just affecting her, no different than seeing the Ankui children is affecting Tabitha, or having the visions of the symbol is affecting Jade. It's this one. Both of those they're not as physical, right? But it's the same thing. It's manipulating the reality of that person and their perception of reality.
Okay, interesting. And what about you, Snug? In her head, or something really going on with her physically?
There's something really going wrong. I'm not sure what it is yet, but whether she'll turn into a monster or whether there's something else going on. But hopefully we'll find out in the next few episodes.
Hopefully, whatever it is, and that's the thing. I know we only have 3 episodes left, but whatever is happening to Fatima, I really hope we get a definitive answer this season. I really hope this isn't a storyline that they carry over to season 4. Whatever's really happening to her, we need to get that answer this season.
Yeah. How is it that the people who don't have their minds messed with must feel left out that are in the town?
I know, right? How come I'm not seeing all this weird, trippy shit? Yeah, maybe. But no, we got a few people in the chat who think she is pregnant. We got some who think that it is all in her head. Kelly says it's in her head. Dana says it's in her head. Mary says she's pregnant with a new monster. And that's another thing. If there is something inside her, then that begs the question, what exactly is inside her? Is it going to be these regular monsters that we know and love? I get the feeling they have a little bit of a different origin. I would be very surprised if the monsters that we love on this show were born. And I mean, it'd just be a little weird. What, do they go through this baby monster phase that they have to grow up through? Like, it'd be super weird, the logistics of it. But if she is birthing something, yeah, could it be some kind of new monster that we've never even seen before? That could be, I think, in terms of outcomes that would be the most interesting. I think that would be the most interesting. I mean, if we find out that she isn't really pregnant and that she herself is turning into something, that could be pretty cool as well. But her giving birth to some kind of new monster that we haven't seen before, I think that would be like the coolest outcome, just personally. But yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll see. I guess we shall see. Something is very wrong with her. I want her to tell someone about what she did to Nikki. And that's the other thing. Like, is she ever going to come clean with what she really did? Because it seems like even till this point, she still hasn't even told Ellis that she was snacking down on Nikki's dead body. Yes, she kind of gathered up the courage to tell Ellis and even Fanny Pack Granny and even Christy and the rest of them about the rotten food she's eating. But it doesn't seem like she's told anybody about the human freaking blood she was craving yet. And I don't know if she ever will. I'm not sure if she ever will. I think it's the worm blood, says Soundpiece. I had an interesting thought that could potentially be possible as well way back when. Whereas, I mean, after we had this blood transfusion from Boyd to Ellis, I mean, yes, we just saw Boyd got rid of the worms, but there's so much about that worm parasite entity that we just don't know about. Are we 100% certain that Boyd didn't have a little trace of something in his blood when he gave Ellis that transfusion? And in turn, are we 100% sure Ellis couldn't have passed something on to Fatima? I mean, we know they're probably, knocking uglies all the time, so he could have easily transmitted something into her. I think that's very unlikely. Whatever's happening to Fatima, I have no idea. But could it potentially be worm related? I suppose it's possible. I suppose it is possible. Yeah, we got another one for Worm Baby. She's definitely got something in her, says Amy Bones as well. Awesome. Yassine says Fatima's going to give birth to something, and it's going to murder Renly Baratheon. Yes, Yassine, that is the best answer I've seen yet. I don't think I've seen a better answer than that right there. This is going to be Melisandre's freaking smoke monster, baby, and she's going to take out freaking Renly. I love that. That's such a great answer right there. Holy shit. I like that. That is a good one. Let's see. What else we got? Yeah, Ellis, you are not the father. Indeed. And Ducky asks a very interesting question as well. This is one I've been wondering too. If we do see Fatima continue to get worse and worse, I mean, could we potentially see Fatima take somebody else out as well? Like, who's Fatima going to kill next? Maybe somebody else she is getting close to. And I've been worried about that. Like, right when Fatima first started snacking on human blood, my thought was, okay, what's going to be the progression? I mean, she progressed from rotten food to freaking dead human blood. What's going to be the next step? And part of me thought, is she going to get to a point where she starts craving alive human blood, where she starts taking chunks out of people? I was very worried for Ellis. I thought, could we potentially get to a point where Fatima just takes a big old chunk out of Ellis's neck while they're sleeping because she's craving more blood? So yeah, I mean, we've seen she very much has become a physical danger to others. She's already killed one person. Very possible that she could have another outburst and kill somebody else. So yeah, what do you guys think? You think Fatima is going to put anybody else in danger? You think she might have another outburst?
I don't think so. I think this is the culminating event for Fatima in this season. I think if you're moving forward, yes, because I think she's going to further spiral and lash out just like she did here, where she's consumed with what's going on with her, rightfully so, because reality's slipping away from her and she's not handling it to the same degree that Tabitha or Jade are. But for this season, no. I think you've seen her moment already.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. And you too, Snug, you don't think she's going to kill anybody else?
I think it depends on the situation she's in. I mean, and if she's feels like she's in danger, she might. But it just depends on if they're going to get away, and it's going to be her and Ellis and Boyd that are kind of away by themselves. I don't think that she will. But if she somehow gets back and no one knows that she's done it, and she's put into a situation, it's possible. But maybe she's been possessed by the spirit of Dale. Maybe that's what happened.
Maybe it's that simple, and she has been infested by the spirit of Dale. Yes. We got Papa Socks for $3. A $3 super sticker. Thank you so much, Papa Socks. Very much appreciate you, my friend. We also have one gifted membership from Mike Shriver as well. Thank you so much, Mike, for the gifted membership. Very much appreciate you. We also have Gina Lloyd. Thank you so much, Gina Lloyd, for the 5. Can we talk about how Fatima's body seemed to be disemboweled in that bed, just like Smiley's monster? It did remind me a little bit of Smiley's insides, didn't it? Yeah, like let's I believe I do have those stills, and we could take a look. Where yes, I mean, we see Fatima, her stomach is very much this does not look normal. It definitely looks like something very strange is going on there. We see her insides literally being sucked up, but not just her insides. If we look at her IV as well, her arm was also rejecting the IV, almost like her body is rejecting fluids. So that made me think of Smiley right away as well, because that's the one thing we saw about Smiley in the autopsy. He's got no fluids inside his body. All of his insides were just completely shriveled up, completely dried up. Yes, all the human organs were there, but none of them seemed to be in any kind of functioning order. So when I saw this, it instantly made me think of that, not just the stomach, but again, when we look at her arm and we see that her arm is literally rejecting the IV, almost like her body is rejecting fluids. That definitely made me think of Smiley's insides as well. And not only this, someone also pointed out, I think it was Ravener, that when she throws up, she's also throwing up nothing but water, almost like all the fluids are being purged from her body. Now, is that just coincidence, or is she potentially being dried up and shriveled up into a monster? A lot of people seem to think Fatima is going to turn into like an actual monster, the same monsters that we've seen on the show. And I suppose that's possible. But now, when I saw this, I thought this was very strange as well. And it did kind of remind me a little bit of Smiley's kind of shriveled up insides, where we saw something similar happen to Smiley. Then Ellis comes in and we see she's completely fine. So us as the audience, we're left to wonder, was this really happening to her stomach? Or was this all in her head? Again, they're very good with how how much they kind of lead into that ambiguity, where they don't give us that definitive answer whether or not this is real or not. But I guess that's the question: did this really happen to Fatima's stomach, or was this just in her head? I don't know, man. Again, looking at the IV, seeing that the IV is rejecting her, that her body's kind of rejecting the IV, maybe, and then you see all this. Yeah, it made me think of Smiley for sure.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I also noticed with that IV is it's got the red of the blood, the yellow, and then the blue. All those colors are represented there, and that's my new. And I don't know what the aliens are telling us with that, but that's kind of my harp on the colors. But yeah,
man.
you keep popping up.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so
Colors
the
keep
color
popping up.
thing, because that's new for me. I haven't heard that before. So if you're gonna do the color thing, have you gone back and watched season 1 and season 2 and looked for consistency?
well, that's why I noticed it.
That's
That's
what
where you
we're-
can see these same colors throughout the yellow, and then the kind of the yellow, orange, and then red is more recent. But the yellow and the blue, or the yellow and the orange, has been there the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've been kind of tracking that. Now I have no idea what it means or if it means anything, but
you've
I've
noticed
been
it
watching
repeating?
for it. Yeah.
Okay.
And it can't be
Interesting.
accidental because they're putting they're building the sets. They're putting the stuff, they're making the sets to have those colors, so it must mean something.
Right.
It's Chekhov's colors. So
Chekhov's colors. Oh shit! Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know.
I've never really paid a lot of close attention to the colors or the numbers. Even like I think there's some interesting theories around there. But like when it comes to the 4s and 7s, like part of me is still convinced that it's just a simple wink and a nod to Stephen King. Like when the numbers when those 4s and 7s actually play a part in the actual plot, then maybe I'll think there's a deeper meaning there. But when it comes to the numbers in the bottles, though, those might mean something a little bit deeper. I mean, those are actively playing a part in the actual plot, in the actual storyline. So I do think those numbers will potentially amount to something. Maybe Jade will eventually see some kind of code or algorithm, as he put it. Maybe he will see something that'll help him kind of crack that code at some point. But I do think the bottle numbers are going to amount to something. But all these 4s and 7s, they seem like they're more just background information. It doesn't seem like they're playing any kind of physical part in the actual story. If they do at some point, then I'll believe maybe there's a little bit more to it. But up until now, I'm still not 100% convinced the 4s and 7s mean anything other than just that wink and a nod to Stephen King.
Once there were only 3 red stones, then I kind of figured that the 4s and 7s maybe don't mean anything.
They very well could. I mean, I could be completely wrong, of course.
Yeah. Who knows?
But thank you so much, Gina, for the $5. Very much appreciate you. We also got Jen Hack, who has gifted a membership. Thank you so much, Jen. Very much appreciate the gifted membership. And welcome. Let's see what else we got. We also got Mick Light for $5. Thank you so much, Mick Light. I know how they do have a season where the townsfolk turn into monsters, something similar to the Cursed or the Shrine, and I hope we get the origin at some point. I do believe the writers have said that they will reveal the true origin of the monsters at some point. I mean, John Griffin didn't mention as to when it would happen, but I do vaguely remember reading in an interview that they said we will eventually learn the true origins of the monsters. And I can't wait to see what it's going to be. Like, is it one of those things where humans are actually turned into monsters? We've been getting a lot of, at least evidence, some hints pointing to these things maybe being human at one point. Whether it's the autopsy that Christy does in season 2, where she sees all the human organs and thinks that they might have been human at one point, or whether it's the line we get from the monster herself, Jasmine, in season 1, when Jasmine says, "It wasn't my choice to be like this." So a lot of fans believe that these things were human at one point, and they were put through some kind of transformation, for lack of a better term, and turned into these monsters. That's very well possible. I could just never get out of my head the whole nightmare creature thing. Every time we see these creatures, like the official designation of the monsters on the show is nightmare creature. And then we get all these other kind of hints to these creatures being pulled directly out of people's nightmares. And even in this latest episode, episode 7, we see Acosta say to Boyd inside the sheriff's station, now I'm stuck in a place where with monsters that should only exist inside a nightmare. So we keep getting this hint over and over and over again about these creatures and nightmares. And we also have all these other aspects of the show where it seems like people's nightmares or fears can physically be pulled out of them and manifested in the forest. Sarah says it in season 2, where her brother had a whole theory that when you die, your fears become physically manifested in this place. So is there a potential aspect where these monsters were maybe pulled directly out of someone's nightmare, and from that point on, that's how they, is that potentially the true origin? Or were these things maybe human at some point and they went through some kind of nasty curse or transformation or whatever the case may be? Maybe they were all human at some point. But whatever the case is, I hope we get that origin. I'm not expecting to get it this season, but it'll be interesting to see what the true origin of these monsters really is.
We need someone's nightmare to be like a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Then we'll know for sure that that's what it is.
It just popped in there.
Yeah, it just popped in there.
Just popped in. Totally just popped in. Complete. I have no idea where it came from. But thank you guys so much. And thank you so much, Mick Light. Thank you, Jen Hack, for the gifted membership. Gina as well. And Mike and Papa Socks. Thank all of you for the support. And I owe you guys a whoa. All right, let's dive into the chat. Let's see what you guys are saying. What are some of your thoughts and predictions for episode 8 and beyond? What storylines do you guys want to see the most? Let me know what you guys are thinking. We've got Tyler B. I always call them ghouls, but yes, Nightmare Creatures is the official title. Yeah, I like ghouls too. I mean, I don't know, something about the Nightmare Creature. It's just a cool name, I guess. I really like the Nightmare Creature name. But yeah, some people call them slow walkers too. I saw the whole slow walkers slogan. People have been calling them that for a while. So slow walkers, that's another kind of cool name. But yeah, for me, it's Nightmare Creatures. I like the Nightmare Creatures. That's why I say they're in some sort of coma dream world, nightmare type situation. I suppose anything's possible at this point. I mean, they could potentially be one shared dream, but I really hope that's not the case personally. And I feel like us seeing Tabitha going back to the real world and then coming back here, I feel like it doesn't outright debunk a lot of theories, but it does point and it does make some other theories a little more likely, like the whole kind of pocket dimension thing. Based on everything we've seen up until this point, it does seem like the whole pocket world is the most accurate theory based on the facts we have on the ground up until this point, in terms of this being a place where people can get pulled into from anywhere, yet you can't find it physically in our real world. And even some of the things we hear from Henry early on in season 1, how Miranda described this place, we hear some of the things that Jade is talking about in terms of people needing to kind of open up a dimensional rift in order to get here. And I very well think that that's what the boy in white did. We were all wondering, how exactly did the boy in white send Tabitha to the real world? It certainly can't just be as simple as getting up to the top of that lighthouse and jumping off. There needs to be something else, some kind of mechanism as to why or how the boy in white sent Tabitha to the real world. And is the boy in white potentially capable of opening up one of these dimensional rifts, as Jade puts it? Did the boy in white open up some kind of rift and push Tabitha through it?
I'm sorry. I really am. This is the only way.
This is the only way. Could that potentially be what he was maybe referring to? Is this the only way where we have to open up this little rift, send Tabitha through it? And if that's the case, why exactly did he send her through it? Why did he ultimately send her to the real world? Was it just to bring back Henry? Or was Tabitha meant to do something else while she was there and failed because she got pulled back in too early? I don't know. I saw some people were saying in the comment section of my latest video, and I thought this was an interesting comment, that potentially the boy in white used Tabitha so he could escape. Maybe the boy in white is capable of opening up one of these things, but maybe he's trapped here himself. But maybe by following Tabitha through it, he was able to escape too. I thought that was an interesting theory.
Yeah.
Part of me always thought that the boy in white had enough power to reach into the real world and back here. Like maybe he wasn't as trapped as we thought. But I thought that was a cool theory, and I'm sorry I'm blanking on the commenter who said it in the chat. But I thought that was an interesting theory that the boy in white was potentially using Tabitha, as a means for him to escape. But I don't know. I don't know. There's still so many questions in terms of why the boy in white sent her there, what her true purpose was, what did he want to achieve. So much we don't know about the boy in white. We still don't even know if the boy in white is on the side of good or bad even, which has been another really interesting debate in between the fandom up until this point. Are they good? Is the boy in white going to help ultimately, or does the boy in white have his own plans that will eventually be revealed? I don't know. I like the Wendigo theory.
I think she's supposed to order a bunch of crepes and bring them back. I mean, that's the store she let him to. So.
Maybe it was that simple. Maybe the boy in white was hankering for some good old crepes. That's very possible. I mean, people go very far and beyond for some crepes, I would imagine.
Yeah. All the way to Camden,
but no, as all the way to Camden, get those freshly made crepes. But no, KR brings up the Wendigo theory, and I actually like the Wendigo theory. I mean, I don't know if it's what's actually happening, but I always thought that was a really cool theory, the whole that these things are potential Wendigos. And there's many different mythologies behind the whole Wendigo curse. I kind of always go back to the Native American Wendigo myself, whereas it's very much a real Native American kind of curse that exists in our world. Wendigo's real, who knows? But in terms of like the actual mythology behind Wendigos, it's very much a real mythology, where in Native American terms, in condensed version is basically that humans can get cursed into turning into these flesh-eating creatures, and it happens due to cannibalism. If humans eat too much human meat, they will eventually get cursed into turning into these things called Wendigos, and they will forever crave human flesh for the rest of eternity. Some people think that's what these things are. They are some form of Wendigo, which I suppose it's possible.
Yeah.
I suppose it is possible. But I always like the Wendigo. I've always liked the Wendigo lore. It's always been a pretty interesting mythology.
Yeah, if anybody's looking for a good, actual, strong historical context of the Wendigo lore, Lore Lodge actually has a really good video on that.
Oh, awesome. Wendigos fall under the lycanthropy family. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think that's
not really. It's
that's more...
lycanthropy is you're infected by a monster that bites you. The Wendigo, you're cursed by the consumption of flesh in one. In another, you can be cursed to become a Wendigo. There's a lot of different. It's Native American mythology, so there's a lot of different. There's similarities to like the monster that it becomes, but it's not. How you become infected is different.
A little bit different. I would say a little bit more in the lycanthropy area would be things like skinwalkers, lugaroos, creatures like that who actually need to be bitten by something to transform into it. As Alda said, the Wendigo is more of a curse that is put on someone for eating too much human flesh, too much cannibalism. So similar but different. Awesome stuff. We still don't know if the monsters eat anything from the victims. Again, another huge question that the entire fandom has been wondering for a very long time. And I suppose Boyd's really the only one who has the answer to that. Because as far as we know, Boyd is the only one who has actually seen these monsters kill somebody directly in front of them and live to talk about it. Everybody else has all been victims themselves. But Boyd, he was right there. Yeah, Boyd was right there in that barn. He was strapped to that freaking column, and he was forced to watch what they did to Tien Chen. And then the next morning, when they actually show Tien Chen's body, we see that her insides were scooped up like an ice cream scoop, just like everybody else. But what exactly do they do? What are these monsters doing to their victims? Are they just slashing them up to bits, or are they actually feeding on them? That's one thing the show has left pretty ambiguous, where they haven't given us that definitive answer yet. But if anybody's going to know, it would be Boyd. He's the only one that's actively saw what they do from start to finish and lived to tell about it. So I don't know. I'm still not sure if they eat their victims or not. I kind of go back and forth on it. whether or not they eat their victims or whether or not they're just shredding them to bits.
Yeah.
Some people even seem to think that they're taking the organs and bringing them somewhere else and feeding them to some other monster. I think that's a little less likely, personally, but who knows? Who knows what's possible?
Because they're so desiccated, you almost wonder too, is it like an Egyptian mummy thing and they're taking the organs and putting them in like an offering jars or something?
Interesting. Maybe. I mean, I guess anything's possible with this show of Fromville. Awesome stuff. And yeah, what are they doing with the organs? What are they doing with the organs? Yeah, I don't know. I still have no idea what they're doing with these organs. Are they just shredding them to bits? Are they eating them? I don't know. Let's see what else we got. When will it release? The episode releases in 1 hour. About 1 hour from now. It is 11 p.m. Eastern, just about right now. And the episode airs on MGM Plus at just after midnight. So we're around 1 hour away from episode 8. And yeah, Lugaru is definitely considered more of a curse, for sure. Wolverine was introduced to Marvel in Hulk 181 fighting a Wendigo in Canada. Yes, we got comic fans in the chat. I love it, Quan Solar. Absolutely.
Pride of my collection right there. My copy of that.
Nice. Oh, you have? I don't have that issue myself.
Yes, I do.
Why am I not surprised? You have it. Aldous has every comic you can.
Yeah, everything.
Not quite.
Literally every comic. Most of them.
The full run of Power Pack.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Looks like Kenny is parenting Ethan in the new episode. That's on par for the Matthews. Yeah, we do see Kenny. Well, I think this is Ethan running to Kenny and Acosta to get help for Julie. Because we see these other stills of Julie and Ethan. Let's get to these. Here we see Julie and Ethan are returning to the ruins, the same ruins that Julie and Randall found in episode 7. And you can really see that Julie wanted to check these things out, but Randall was not having it. Randall wanted nothing to do with this place, to the point where he even said, Julie, please, can we go? Randall never says please to anybody. So if nothing else, it really showcases just how much fear Randall really was in that moment. He wanted nothing to do with these ruins. But Julie, on the other hand, she wanted to go inside. She wanted to learn a little bit more about them. And then later on, we also see these stills of Julie inside the dungeon, back inside where it all began, where Boyd met Martin, where her Marielle and Randall were held captive. Julie has effectively made it back inside. And we see a few interesting stills there. She's standing right in front of the well. But we also see these stills right here, not too long later, of her seemingly, just getting done freaking out. We got Kenny and Acosta asking her if she's okay. So I get the feeling we're going to see I get the feeling we're going to see Ethan and Julie enter into these ruins. Something weird is going to happen to Julie. She's going to start screaming. And I think we're going to see young Ethan run back to town to get Costa and Kenny to help Julie. And then later on, I think that's why we see this still here of Acosta and Kenny helping Julie. I imagine whatever she sees inside there is going to scare the crap out of her. Ethan's going to run to go get help. Bada boom, bada bang. But what exactly is she going to see while she's in there, I suppose, is the real question. We also see this behind her. We see the entrance, and the entrance and exit. It's very strange. This is what leads me to believe that this whole thing might just be one giant vision, one giant hallucination. Because not only do we see Julie inside here, but we also see this weird POV. I almost feel like this is the real Julie looking at some kind of evil version of Julie, maybe, or some kind of hallucination version, because it's almost weird, the POV here. I almost wonder if there's Julie, the real Julie, is standing here seeing this. And then when we see the entrance, the door, usually this door just leads right outside to the woods. But instead, we almost see like a little cave background here, almost a little bit of a cave texture coming from this door, almost like it's one giant hallucination, one giant dream, where she steps out of this dungeon and directly into the caves, because we also have this shot of Julie in the actual caves. Now, what are the odds that Julie is going to go into the caves and into this dungeon all within the same episode? That's highly unlikely, I think. So I wouldn't be surprised if this whole thing is just one giant dream sequence where she goes from that dungeon place, exits, and finds herself inside the cave. But I guess the big question is, what is she going to see while she's down there? And what is she going to see while she's in here? Because it does look like she is in a bit of distress. We see her covering her ears. We see her looking at something that's scaring the crap out of her. Is she seeing that other version of herself? I don't know. But something's going down here. And I thought another thing was interesting with her holding her ears. And I mentioned this in my episode 8 breakdown video, but after episode 8 premiered, we now have a clear representation of sight, sound, and touch when it comes to the cicadas and everything that's happening with the cicadas and Julie, Randall, and Mari. Where in episode 8, it was finally revealed that Mari states that she still feels like these cicadas are crawling all over her at times. So now we have a clear representation of Julie hearing them, Randall seeing them, and now Mari feeling them. Touch, sight, sound, and touch, all three represented. I don't think that's a coincidence. I get the feeling there's a specific reason why Julie is hearing them, why Randall is seeing them, and why Mari is feeling them. Because we did see when Julie, it's affecting them differently, it seems, because even when Julie and Randall were in the car and Randall started seeing the bugs, Julie couldn't see them. Only Randall could see them. And you would think if anybody could see them along with Randall, it would be Julie, because they both went through it. So it seems like each one of them is being affected in a different way. With Mari, it's feel. With Julie, it's sound. And with Randall, it's sight. And again, I get the feeling that is not a coincidence. That has got to mean something. What does it mean? I have no idea. But that's certainly not a coincidence that we're having a different effect from each one of these characters.
Right.
But I'm looking forward to it. Again, I feel like they've given the Julie a pretty good storyline in season 3. I wasn't a big fan of her storyline in season 2. Yes, it kind of ended in an interesting spot with them kind of getting possessed by this weird cicada entity thing. But I think a lot of us had a feeling that that was not going to be over. A lot of us were wondering coming into season 3, are these cicadas really fully gone? Or is there some kind of after effect, some kind of PTSD, some kind of trauma that Julie, Randall, and Mari are going to be dealing with from their time stuck in this dungeon? And I'm very glad to see that that was very much the case, that this is not over yet. And whatever is happening to Julie, Randall, and Mari, it's very much still happening to them. So I guess it's going to be interesting to see, where is this going to go? Do you guys have any ideas or theories, both in the chat and on the panel? What exactly do you guys think is happening with Julie, Randall, and Mari? And do you have any ideas as to where it might potentially go?
No. To sum
That's
up,
the best answer. Yeah.
I am incredibly confused by the imagery. This is the first time I've seen it, so
yeah.
I'm not sure the angle they're going to take. Somebody in the chat mentioned Tyler B. Will she see the ballerina? If she sees the ballerina, or I think more interestingly would be if she sees a younger version of Martin. I think either one of those to bring the circle back around, either like a little girl that's dancing like a ballerina or a younger version of Martin. I think that would be that would be much more intriguing. That's what I would anticipate, at least if they're really going to throw a curveball. That's what I think they're going to go with.
Yeah. Yeah. And what it looks like to me is that, I to be honest, I didn't give the last episode a very high rating because it still seems like they're just throwing puzzle pieces at us.
It's all set up for whatever they're doing.
Yeah, yeah, whatever they're doing now, it's like they're going to pull it together. It looks like in this, and they're going to pull some of these threads together. But where they're going to go with it, I'm not even going to try to guess, because every guess I make is wrong. So I'll just wait and see what happens.
Awesome. Yeah, I think seeing a younger version of Martin could be pretty interesting. Like seeing Martin maybe like right after he first became infected with these worms. That could be an interesting vision. Yeah, I don't know. I think Julie sees Martin. Yeah, it could be. Could very well be. That could be an interesting scene. And speaking of Martin, there were a lot of questions as to who the body was that Elgin. Yeah, who threw the friggin' rope? I don't think we're ever going to find out who threw that damn rope. That's a question for the ages, one that I don't think we will ever get the answer to, unfortunately. But one thing a lot of people were wondering from episode 7 was who exactly is the body in the hidden room that Elgin finds. Down here in this weird hidden room that Elgin finds down in the root cellar, we see a random body. And at first, a lot of people thought this might be Jade, just based on the shirt. But when you zoom in a little bit closer, you can see it's a totally different shirt from the shirt that Jade was wearing earlier on in the series. And Jade was wearing totally different pants as well. So this is, I can say with probably a pretty high confidence that this is not Jade. But who is it, I guess, is the question. We see a lot of people saw the long beard and the long hair and thought of Martin. And I was one of them as well. Martin was one of the first characters that popped into my mind. When I saw this body, I thought, okay, what characters are out there that we've been introduced to whose fates we don't quite know yet? And that's really Martin and Christopher. A lot of people thought this could potentially be some version of Christopher, and even I thought that could be possible as well, but I think it's a little less likely that it's Christopher. And I think it's a little less likely that it could be Martin as well, just based on the rate of decomposition. Whatever this body is, whoever this body is, seems like they've been there for a very long time. And Martin, it seems like Martin only just died not too long ago after he passed the worms on to Boyd. Now, could it potentially be one of these aspects where time started to just catch up to Martin after he got rid of the worms? Because we did hear that the worms were the only thing keeping Martin alive. Maybe he got rid of the worms and time just caught up with him, which is possible, but I think very unlikely. And then there were some other people in the chat who were thinking that this is just a random body, that we'll never find out who this is. And I think that's very possible as well. Do you guys think there's a deeper significance to who this body is? Or do you think it's one of those things where it's just a body and we'll never learn who it was?
It's just a body.
Yeah, it could be.
I'm starting to think that too. I'm starting to think it's nothing deeper. Yeah.
Well, I don't think it's anything deeper. It's a classic misdirection, right? You're going to throw something out there so that it's a question, and then you just leave it open-ended. I've talked a lot about this as we've been going through this show, but Twin Peaks did that a lot. Frost would have something in there, and Lynch would kind of just dance around it and then move on, and you're left trying to connect pieces. Is it important? You don't know. Yeah. And I think that's the beauty of a show like this, is sometimes you give something and sometimes it's important, sometimes it's not, but you need to keep those puzzle pieces there. And sometimes you don't even want to explain what they were, because that adds another layer of mystery and depth onto it. So I hope there's a reason for it, but at the same time, you don't know.
Yeah, it might just be to emphasize that this is a creepy room and bad stuff happens in this room.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Might just be
it could be. It could very well be that it's just a sign of something horrible happening in this room a long time ago. Clearly, the Kimono creature wanted Elgin to find this room for a reason. Why still remains to be seen. But yeah, it could just be an indication of something bad that happened here a long time ago, and maybe we'll never really find out who the body is. I think that's very possible, especially when you think of, again, how ambiguous From leaves so many storylines. I would love to find out who this body really is, but I guess just based off how the show has gone up until this point, I guess I wouldn't be too surprised if we never find out who it is. I think that's very possible.
Unless he's got his wallet.
Yeah, maybe it's Sideshow Bob. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's just freaking good old Sideshow Bob. Maybe. It is somebody we know or will know, and it could be. Maybe it could potentially turn out to be more of an important character. That's very possible as well. I feel like it could go either way. That's Jade. I don't. No, it's not Jade. It's not. No, it's not that I don't want it to be Jade. It's. I just don't think it is Jade because it's a totally different shirt. Jade's wearing a totally different shirt than this guy, and Jade had totally different pants on as well. So no, I'm pretty confident this is not Jade. I actually think I have, thanks to the awesome Discord, a closer zoom in look at the shirt. Here we go. Here is the shirt that this person is wearing. We can see the clear kind of designs that are on this shirt. Very, very distinct with this weird kind of diamond-like look. And then you look at the shirt that Jade had on, totally different. It's a completely different shirt. And not only that, Jade had khaki pants on. He had tan khakis on. He didn't have on blue jeans. So it's a totally different outfit. So I'm pretty confident this is not Jade. Again, we have Jade just wearing a regular striped shirt, regular striped shirt for Jade. And then on this shirt, you have this weird kind of little diamond, almost double helix design. It almost looked like a little bit of a double helix, the sign for the human DNA strain. But no, it's a different shirt and it's different pants. So I'm firmly confident it's not Jade. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. But I'd be very surprised if that was Jade at this point. I think something else is going on there. And again, part of me thinks that maybe we'll never find out who it was. I think that's possible. I don't know. I guess we shall find out, guys, because it does look like we are going down into the root cellar again in episode 8, based on these stills. And again, sometimes they reveal a lot through the stills. Sometimes they don't reveal a whole lot through the stills. But it looks like, at the very least, we are going to see some more action down at the root cellar in episode 8. And what exactly is going to happen down there? Why is Elgin bringing Fatima down there, of all people? Did the kimono creature tell Elgin that Fatima is going to become a bigger danger to everyone, so he's going to lock her on up down there? Is Elgin promising her some kind of answers? Like, how did Elgin even get her to follow him in the first place, is what I'm wondering. Because at this point, when we see some of these other stills, it looks like Fatima was probably in the cabin at this point. So A, how did Elgin even know Fatima was in this little shack? And B, how did Elgin convince Fatima to go with him? What does Elgin say to Fatima to convince him, hey, follow me down into this creepy root cellar? Like, how do we get from A to B, I wonder? I don't know. I do not know. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know, but I'm looking forward to finding out. And it looks like we are going to find out in around 45 minutes from now, ladies and gentlemen. We are just 45 minutes away from the episode 8 live watch party. And of course, anybody who wants to join us and watch episode 8, all you got to do is click that link pinned to the top of the stream, or you can click that link that Kiwi Skirt just threw in chat. That will take you directly to the Discord watch party where you can watch episode 8 there. Or if you want to watch episode 8 on your own time and on your own screen and then join the conversation in the Discord afterwards, that is totally cool as well. But we're getting closer and closer now, guys. Episode 8 is just 45 minutes away. 45 minutes. Now let's talk a little bit about Jade. Now Jade's been a little bit kind of on the he's been having a rough go of it, to say the least. He's definitely been mentally strained, and that's one thing I've really been enjoying about season 3 as a whole. The theme of season 3 is very much the psychological torment that a lot of these characters are going through, because it seems like it's not just Boyd that this place is trying to break. This place is trying to break everybody, whether it's taunting Jim with phone calls of his dead son, the visions Jade is seeing, everything Victor's going through. It definitely seems like this place is psychologically just straining these characters. But I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going to happen with Jade in these last 3 episodes. Maybe it's just me because I'm a huge Jade fan. He's my favorite character. But I really want to see where exactly is his and Tabitha's storyline going, because it seems like the closer we get to the end of season 3, it seems like we're finally starting to see Jade and Tabitha's storylines kind of converge a little bit. And not only Jade and Tabitha, in this episode in particular, it also looks like we are seeing Victor and the Jasper storyline maybe converge with Tabitha's storyline as well, because here we have Tabitha, Victor, and Sarah all down in Father Cautry's basement. So I'm looking forward to seeing where Jade and Tabitha are going to go next. What kind of clues will they discover? Will Jade eventually solve the riddle of what these numbers are in the bottle tree? Will he eventually see some kind of code, some kind of message that gives him some kind of sign or some kind of place of origin to start? I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do with Jade over these next 3 episodes. I don't know where they're going with him, though. It's really hard to know where they're going with Jade because they haven't. With a lot of the other characters, there's been very clear foreshadowings for where their storylines are going, whether it's Elgin and the Kimono creature, whether it's Fatima and this weird pregnancy. There's been some, or whether it's Victor and the puppet. There's been some very clear foreshadowings for where their storylines are potentially going. But Jade hasn't really had that much foreshadowing this season in terms of where his storyline is definitely going to go. I'm hoping that at some point, though, he gets a little bit better at interpreting some of these visions and what these visions are ultimately trying to tell him. And I know I've probably said this a million times, but until Jade learns to stop being afraid of these visions, he's never going to fully be able to understand them and solve them. As of right now, he's seeing all these visions, and they are scaring the crap out of him. But until he learns to conquer that fear, until he learns to look at these visions objectively and ask himself, okay, what is this vision trying to tell me? Until he gets to that state, he's never going to learn what these things are. And we did get a little bit of foreshadowing from that scene between Jade and Tom, where Tom says to Jade, you really want to beat this place? Sober up and give that guy a call. Maybe now with Jade being off the bottle, maybe we'll finally start to see Jade make some more headway in terms of actually finding real answers. Because I really get the feeling that when it comes to the show and the big reveals that we're going to get, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the big reveals do come through characters like Jade and Tabitha and Elgin and Victor. I do think these are going to be the characters that, through which we get most of our big answers. So yeah, I can't wait to see what they do with Jade over these next 3 episodes, because they could go left or right with this character at this point. As long as they don't kill him, I'm totally fine. And I don't think they will kill him based on some of those cameo videos that we have gotten, that see the actor who plays Jade, David Alpay, still has the big old beard and still has all that long hair, which leads me to believe that he still has some filming to do left if season 4 gets picked up, which it most likely will. But yeah, where is Jade's storyline going, and will we see it continue to merge closer into Tabitha's storyline? Because we're starting to see those two storylines kind of merge a little bit. And again, Jade and Tabitha are two of the only characters who have ever seen the Onkui children too. So there's some kind of connection there between Jade's storyline and Tabitha's storyline. Jade said something interesting in episode 8, and I'd love to get everybody's take on this. Jade says, Jade doesn't say, but he's bringing up the notion, the possibility of this potentially not being random, that the second Miranda and Tabitha both started having dreams and visions of this place, they were always destined to end up here. So I guess that's the question. Do you guys think that they are being pulled in here randomly, or do you think certain characters were always destined to be here? I think some of them are being pulled here on purpose, and maybe some of the other passengers that they happen to be with that time, maybe they're just kind of collateral damage. But I think a good majority of the characters that are in here are being pulled in here for a specific reason. Maybe this was destiny. Maybe Tabitha was always meant to be here.
Well, you can add into that Boyd's wife who said she had dreams of there was something that reminded her of it, of the town, and then also Elgin was having dreams before he got in as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
but not everyone. Those are the only ones I can think of that have said that they saw it before they got there.
Some kind of dream. Yeah. Like, is there some other kind of sign that points to another sense of destiny, that these characters were always meant to be here? Again, I definitely get the feeling that some of them, they were always meant to be here. Some of them might just be, but why exactly is the question.
Yeah.
Why, if they're bringing specific people here, what exactly are they doing? Do they want people in this town to fill specific roles? Again, everything is just wrapped in so much ambiguity that there's really not much definitive stuff to go on there. But I wouldn't be surprised. I just don't get the feeling it's random. And they even bring up that kind of question early in season 1, where Father Cautry actually says, we were all brought here for a reason. Each one of us was brought here for a specific purpose. And Father Cautry very much believed that. And again, I do think that some of these characters were specifically brought here for a specific purpose. But as you mentioned, Snug, what is that purpose? What is the real goal? Why did Fromville want Tabitha in here? Why did Fromville want Miranda in here? What exactly is the ultimate goal? Is it just to have people in Fromville? I mean, I feel
and
like
for
it's
a long time too.
Yeah, I feel like there's got to be something a little bit more than just having people inside the town. There's got to be some kind of real explanation as to why these people are getting pulled in here. I don't think it's random. Who knows?
Right.
Who knows? Maybe it is random. Yeah, and we see, Father Kotri was brought according to his story. Yeah, and I definitely think that, Father Kotri thought that it was the voice of God that was telling him to get back in his car and to drive north, and then boom, 2 hours later, he ended up here in Fromville. I don't think that was the voice of God, though. That definitely seemed like that was probably some kind of voice, some kind of entity inside Fromville beckoning Father Kotri into Fromville. Because, yeah, we see him, 1 minute Father Kotri is getting ready to kill himself. He's getting ready to commit suicide on a bridge. And then next thing he knows, he hears a voice telling him to get back inside of his car and to start driving. And then boom, 2 hours later, he's here in Fromville. That doesn't seem like a coincidence to me. That definitely seems like something drew Father Kotri into this place. So I agree with you, B. Morgan. Absolutely. That was not random. Absolutely not random. But who knows? Who knows about the rest of them? Yeah, phone home. Maybe. Phone home. Let's see what else we got. We need calling the mothership. There we go. One and all. We need more of Kotri. After Boyd called him out, he disappeared. Yeah, we haven't seen Kotri since, and I think I get the feeling we'll probably see him again. I mean, I hope we'll see him again. I really like the Father Kotri scenes. But yeah, and that's been a whole nother question as to what is going on with all these entities, all of these ghosts that are popping up. Is this really Father Kotri returning to Boyd, or is this just Boyd's kind of subconscious manifesting Father Kotri in front of him, or is it just Fromville itself messing with Boyd's head? Again, still very ambiguous in terms of what these entities even are. But in terms of Tilly, I definitely think that Fatima will probably start seeing Tilly at some point, just like Boyd sees Kotri. I think I wouldn't be surprised anyway if that did happen. I guess we'll see. Yeah, she's definitely dead, but we could see Tilly again. And again, absolutely, I definitely think we could. I think in that very same manner, just like Boyd is seeing Father Kotri and Jade is seeing Tom the bartender, I could easily see Tilly showing back up to Fatima at some point and maybe playing on her guilt a little bit. Absolutely, I could see that. Yeah, Ghost Tilly.
I think that's highly probable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, Ghost Tilly, yeah, fucking forced Ghost Tilly just showing up and causing havoc. The haunting of Tilly's fanny pack. And that's the thing. Where's the fanny pack going to end up? Like, we see that usually when people die, their possessions kind of go into that storage at the back of the diner, the storage that Tien Chen used to be in charge of. Are they going to bury Tilly with her fanny pack, or are they going to keep the fanny pack in the storage? Could the fanny pack of holdings still be in play?
You never let the bag of holding be buried with the person that was carrying it when they fail their last death saving throw. You always, it goes, you want it ideally on the person that's like your rogue or, your mage, and they're going to probably shift that around. Somebody's going to be wearing that fanny pack in the beginning of the next season.
That would be hilarious if somebody adopts the fucking fanny pack and somebody else starts wearing it. And yes, a big shout out to everybody who showed up tonight. It's awesome to see everybody in chat. Let us know some of your thoughts and theories. What are you guys looking forward to for episode 8? What are some of the storylines you guys are looking forward to most? What do you guys want to see in the next episode as we get closer and closer to episode 8? Just over a half hour away now, guys. We are getting close. They need to have a dance party with the monsters in the end. Yeah, just settle it all with a big old dance off. That'll settle it once and for all. We gotta have a dance off, kind of like that scene in American Pie. Tilly could be really more like a lost person, like the others. Absolutely, I could definitely see that being the case for sure. I could see that. Do you think the characters are wise up to realize that they're actively being screwed with? Ooh, interesting, Arrow. I think some of them, like Boyd. Yeah. I think Boyd is very much aware that this place is just screwing with him. He has to be aware of that by now. Does every single character have that awareness? Maybe not. Maybe some of them just think that this place is evil. Maybe some of them just think that their luck is bad. I don't know how every character thinks, but at the very least, Boyd very much knows that this place is just screwing with his head mentally, not just mentally, but physically as well. It is psychologically and physically torturing the hell out of Boyd. So I think some of the characters are wise enough to realize what's going on, while others might not be. But yeah, I think Boyd knows. I definitely think Boyd knows. And even Jim. Even, after seeing all the phone calls that Jim got of all of this, the phone calls of him hearing his dead son, Thomas, I think Jim is very much aware that that's not really his son, obviously, but I think Jim is also very much aware that this is this place trying to break him down a little bit more. So yeah, I think some of the characters are at least aware that there is a psychological torment aspect to this place, and it's not just all physical danger they have to worry about.
Jim seems more useless in the last episodes. He's just been,
The
more
Jim
so than
hate
usual.
never ends.
The Jim hate just does not end. Poor Jim, man. He just does not have a lot of fans in these chats.
No.
It's always funny, though. It is always funny. Samuel says, I trust Kotry's ghost because he gives you bad advice. Kotry did that when he was alive, too. Tom, on the other hand, I don't know. That's a good point. I mean, like, when we see Kotry giving all this advice to Boyd, yes, it's all like the same bad advice he used to give to him while he was alive. The Tom one, I kind of go back and forth on all of them, but I do think Tom is similar to Kotry, where he is kind of giving Jade good advice. He's telling Jade that you need to sober up if you're going to solve this place. I don't think alcohol is going to help Jade solve this place. There has been a lot of talk about the kind of unconscious or the altered state of mind being very beneficial in this place, but I don't think an alcohol state of mind is going to help. I think that's more along the lines of finding that higher state of consciousness, whether it's through some kind of tryptamine, some kind of psychedelic, that kind of thing. But in terms of just Jade being drunk, I don't think Jade being drunk is going to help him solve these things. I do firmly believe that with Jade sobering up, he will be better at solving some of these mysteries. So I kind of go back and forth on these entities, these dead characters. Do they mean well? Are they trying to manipulate our characters into some path or another? I don't know, but it's hard to tell. It is hard to tell. Let's see what else we got. Dr. Mabuse, an immortal spirit with the love of games and manipulating people. He loves card games the most. Dr. Mabuse, the gambler, 1922. Ooh, interesting, Xavier. I'll have to check that out. I've not heard of Dr. Mabuse myself. I'll have to check that out. I always like learning new shit. I want to know what's in the fanny pack. We all do. I think it's classified state material at this point. Finding out what's in.
Who killed Kennedy?
We'll find out who killed JFK before we find out what's in that freaking fanny pack. But no, I do too. Like what else has she got hidden away in there? And again, I kind of always thought of it as the TARDIS, where it's just way bigger on the inside than it is on the out. Who knows how much shit is stuffed in that freaking fanny pack? Will we ever find out? I don't know. I don't know. Dead Tilly with the tarot cards, maybe, yeah. Tom always cleaning the glass is such a trope. It really, and that usually is a pretty clear trope of that being a manifestation of his subconscious. Because when someone is manifesting something right out of their subconscious, they're going to envision that person under the same circumstances under which they used to see them when they were alive. And every time Jade saw Tom, he was always behind that bar cleaning a glass. That's why when Jade is seeing him now, I do believe it is a manifestation of just his subconscious, because he's seeing him doing the exact same things he would always watch him do otherwise. So that usually is a pretty clear indication, or a trope, if you will, that it is probably just his subconscious. Because yes, he's doing the same thing he used to do when Jade saw him when he was alive. But who knows? I guess we'll find out. I guess we'll find out a little bit more about these characters. I hope we see Tom and Kotry at least one more time before the season ends. It'd be nice to get at least one more cameo.
Oh, yeah.
Tilly's ride or die. She was so ready to help rescue the people from Matthew's house collapse. She was. And not only that, I mean, one of the last things we see from Tilly just before she checks out is she tells Fatima to run. So even in death, even knowing that Fatima killed her, she was still actively trying to keep Fatima safe to not get caught. last thing she says
Yeah.
to her is, "You have to run." Now, some people think that by her saying "you have to run," there was maybe a deeper meaning to it, which there potentially could be. But I tend to think that was just Tilly telling Fatima, "You need to run so you don't get in trouble for my death." Even in death, Fatima, Fanny Pack Granny was still trying to protect Fatima. That's kind of how I took it.
Yeah, I
Could
mean, she'd
there be a
already.
deeper meaning there?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think she'd already accepted that she was going to die, and she was on borrowed time anyway, so it didn't really. I think she's probably okay. I mean, not okay with it, but it wouldn't. If she wasn't kind of resigned to her own death, she might have reacted differently. But she was trying to be as protective as she could, I think, at the time.
Maybe. Yeah, it's like you said, she was older. She knew that her time was coming. I think she saw Ellis and Fatima as an opportunity to, to be of service. Let me help this young couple who's in a lot of peril right now. Let me do one final good deed before I kind of shuffle off and meet my maker, kind of thing. But who knows? I mean, there are some people who still think Fanny Pack Granny was a little more sus, and there's a little bit more to her that has been revealed yet. And again, I suppose that's still possible, but I tend to think, it was a big red herring. Fanny Pack Granny was one big misdirect, maybe. Victor's going to use the fanny pack for his crayons.
I love it. Yes.
That would be pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. That would be pretty freaking cool. Yeah.
64 colors and a sharpener fit at your hip. How can you turn that down?
He didn't get his lunchbox back, did he? She didn't have his lunchbox when they were in the ambulance, so he needs something.
We're not sure what happened to the lunchbox. That's one thing that's still up in the air. Did Tabitha take the lunchbox with her in the car when her and Henry took off to go find that tree, or did she just leave the lunchbox at Henry's house at that point? That's one thing we still don't know. Did she return? It didn't look like she returned with it. Again, we didn't see it in the ambulance anywhere. We haven't seen it anywhere since. So yeah, that lunchbox may still be back in the real world. That's a good point. Yeah, I'm just wondering what happened to that thing. Carla gets the fanny pack next. Yeah, is Carla going to become the next Fanny Pack Granny? I mean, she's just as sus as Fanny Pack Granny, so I suppose that would be a fitting transition right there. Nice. I think there's mints in the fanny pack. I guarantee you there's mints in that fanny pack, Loretta. I think you're very spot on to say that there's mints in Fanny Pack Granny's fanny pack. I would be super surprised if there wasn't mints or some kind of spearmint gum or some shit in that fanny pack. Gotta be. I mean,
there's some Werther's original from like 1983 that have been rolling
Still
around.
good.
Yeah, just sitting in there for 40 fucking years, just waiting for someone. Just waiting for her to offer them to somebody. I'm looking forward to Costa changing into some fresh clothes, Lord Prees. And I think she will at some point, but we even talked about this last week as well. And I completely agreed with everybody who brought it up. Whereas it's almost like Acosta is going to view her uniform as that symbol of power. As long as people see her in this uniform, they're going to look at her and they're going to instantly think this is some kind of authority figure. The second she changes out of that and into regular clothes, she's just going to be looked at like everybody else in town. So I think that we're going to see, and I think that's why part of her kind of rejected the idea of Kenny offering her clothes in episode 7. She said, I don't want your clothes, yada, yada. I think the uniform for her, it's a symbol of her power, a symbol of authority. Yeah. So I get the feeling we're going to see her in the uniform for a little while.
Absolutely.
I would be surprised if she gives it up. Because that's kind of her. I mean, like you said, she's very new on the force. So I imagine she's probably got a big chip on her shoulder in terms of wanting to prove herself. She's in very bad standing with the town. The town freaking hates her up until this point because she killed one of the most annoying characters anyway. But she still killed somebody. She still killed somebody in cold blood. I wouldn't be surprised if, I would be surprised if Acosta changes out of the uniform anytime soon. I think she's going to want to keep it on just to remind everybody in town that she's a real cop. Yeah. But who knows? Who knows? Let's see what else we got. I am sick of Elgin. Hope this is his last episode or season. Ooh, Wolf Spear, not an Elgin fan. And that's totally cool. If you're not an Elgin fan, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I don't hate Elgin. I don't dislike Elgin, but he's definitely not my favorite character. Some of the scenes I do really enjoy. I thought he and Julie had a really good scene in episode 5 when they were down in the basement of Colony House and they find the Polaroid. It was just refreshing to see that two kids were still capable of being teenagers, even in this nightmarish place. So some scenes for Elgin I really do enjoy. Some are a little bit annoying, but I will at least say they gave him a proper storyline here in season 3, and that's one thing I am a little bit glad they did, because his storyline in season 2, it was a little bit underwhelming by the time you got to the end of season 2 and we finally got that big reveal of what he couldn't remember. All season 2, he knows that there's some kind of dream that he had, and there's aspects of this dream that he just can't quite remember. Then we finally get to the end of season 2. He finally remembers his dream. And it was a big nothing burger. It was just the reveal of the nursery rhyme that we had already heard 100 times up until that point. So it was no new information. Yes, we got to know that the boy in white sent him the dream, which was kind of interesting. But we didn't really it was just a little anticlimactic, just for me personally. This storyline they're giving Elgin here in season 3 has been very interesting so far. I'm really glad that they kind of returned to this weird kimono creature and discovering what this thing is, what does it want, what were its origins, where's this thing going. So I will say I've enjoyed Elgin's storyline in season 3 much more than I did in season 2, for sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
I think we all knew that when the Polaroid camera worked, that there was something sus about it. But then when it snaps the picture and it turns out to be the entrance to the root cellar, then that just proves it.
Yep.
And I don't know if did you bring up the still that from the From account? That's another Polaroid.
I don't know. I completely stay away from everything social media on Saturday and Sunday when it comes to From, just because the From MGM Twitter account and Instagram account, they've been putting out some pretty spoilery pictures before the episode even drops. So I've been trying to stay away from all of the social media just on Saturday and Sunday. I kind of stay away from all of that because I don't want to get spoiled. They threw a picture of the contents of the suitcase before the episode even dropped, which the whole fandom was kind of theorizing all week. What's in this suitcase? Could it be this? Could it be that? And then they just went and spoiled it 12 hours before the episode even dropped. And then last week they went and dropped a picture of the ultrasound. They just put a big spoilery picture of the ultrasound right there online that showed everybody, hey, there's nothing on this ultrasound isn't going to show anything. And then even before that, when it came to, I think, episode 4, I believe it was, they posted a picture of the bracelet before the episode even dropped. That would have been something huge that I would have loved to see in the episode. So for that reason, I've been staying away from the social media, the From social media accounts on Saturday and Sunday, because they're spoiling some things, and it's unfortunate. But I got to stay away. I don't want to see that shit. I want to see that stuff in the episode. I want to see it in the episode. And yeah, they've been doing it a lot. They've been doing it. There's been quite a few times that they've been doing it this year, as Death Shadow Shinobi says. Yeah, they did it for like 3 episodes in a row where they were spoiling, not huge things, but at least big enough things that the entire fandom was theorizing on them. So to have it spoiled before the episode comes out, it's a little disappointing at times, for sure. Elgin is and this, how is he not questioning this? Absolutely, I 100% agree with you. It's like, Elgin, you're being presented with this crazy, weird, creepy kimono-like creature, and you're just blindly doing everything she says, and you're not even telling anybody. Yeah, he's incredibly it's very easy to manipulate, and maybe that's why the kimono creature chose him. Maybe she knew that this kid would be a little bit easier to manipulate. Because, it's like, dude, how are you not even questioning some of these things that this kimono creature is telling you? I mean, just based off appearances alone, you should be sus of this thing. But yeah, he's way too trusting. Way too trusting. And again, I think maybe that's why he was chosen for this. Maybe that's why she honed in on him, because she knew she would be able to manipulate him. But yeah, tell somebody about what you're seeing. He tells Julie a little bit that he's seeing this lady in her dreams. in his dreams, but he hasn't really gone into detail and told anybody what is actually happening. Tell Boyd, tell Donna, tell somebody, stop going at this alone and stop being so freaking trusting. So yeah, I'm with you there. I'm with you there. And this goes back to that. I still wonder why Victor didn't like Elgin at first. Maybe it was just something that Victor sensed inside Elgin, because yeah, that's a big question. I think a lot of us have been wondering, what was it about Elgin that Victor right off the bat didn't trust? Because Victor's one of those characters where you definitely get the feeling where he probably doesn't overly trust an abundance of people, but it was very weird how he kind of singled Elgin out. He's like, I don't trust him. It's like, what kind of vibe was Victor picking up off Elgin that made him not trust him, I wonder? Did Victor potentially know that he was going to be easily manipulated by this place? I don't know, but Victor certainly seemed very sus on Elgin.
If you look at Elgin, he's got a very disheveled appearance in how he dresses. It's just slightly different than everybody else. And Victor probably immediately picked up on the fact that he's not the kind of guy that puts the crayons back in the box when he's done.
It could be. Yeah, he tears the paper or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. One of those kids that rips the paper. Oh, that's the worst.
Could be that simple. Yeah, I used to hate that when kids used to rip the paper off the crayons. Like, God damn it! Now I don't know what color is.
Know what the color is. Yeah.
Exactly. Come on. But yeah, he's definitely getting very easily manipulated, it seems, and that's why again, it's just these manipulation tactics that this kimono creature is implementing. It looks an awful lot very similar to the same thing the voices did to manipulate Sarah. Let's promise you that we can get you and everybody else home. Oh, but just by the way, you have to kill this little kid to get there. So yeah, I think Elgin needs to be a little smarter about this, and he needs to stop being so trusting, and he needs to bring other people in on what the heck is going on and stop doing all this shit alone. But we got Amy Bones for $1.99. Thank you so much, Amy. Ethan will see something with the bottle numbers. Ooh, interesting. And I could see that potentially being the case where Ethan is instrumental in helping Jade solve it. Because yeah, Ethan noticed right away that some of the numbers were repeating and that some of the numbers were backwards. Like when him and Jade were looking at all of the numbers that came out of the bottle tree. That was, Ethan noticed right away that some of them were backwards. So yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised if Ethan plays some sort of part in ultimately solving what these numbers really mean. Because again, he was very keen on finding that little discrepancy super fast, that these things were repeating every once in a while, and not only just repeating, but again, some of the numbers were backwards. So yeah, I could definitely see Ethan being a little bit vital in helping Jade solve the mystery of these bottle numbers at some point. I think he's going to play a part. Yeah, because I mean, the kid is good at puzzles. They have definitely been setting that up where Ethan very much likes puzzles and looking to solve things. So yeah, I could see that, Amy, where Ethan helps out solving this thing. Maybe.
He doesn't put all the edge pieces together first. That's weird.
Yeah, you gotta put together the edges first. Unless he's just like a super genius at puzzles that he doesn't need to put out the edges first. Yeah, you got to start with the edges, then work your way in. That's just the rules. But no, I agree with you, Amy. I think Ethan could potentially see some kind of code or something. Maybe he'll be instrumental in helping Jade solve it. I could see that. We've got Christian Boswell as well for 5. Thank you so much, Christian. Tilly was telling Fatima to run because that's the best way to burn belly fat. It was that simple. Just burn a little bit of belly fat. Get out of here and friggin' run. Oh, shit. That was good. That was a good one. And maybe that really was the case. Maybe she just wanted Fatima to burn off a little bit of that baby weight, or that non-baby weight, as it were. But thank you guys so much, Amy and Christian. Thank you guys for these super chats. And this woe is for you. Whoa! Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. And as I see, the chat is reminding me that we are just 15 minutes away now, guys. 15 minutes away from episode 3. And I cannot wait. I am really, really looking forward to these final 3 episodes. I get the feeling that, and for everybody out there that has been dying for answers all season, I totally understand it. Again, me personally, I'm not really in a big rush for answers just because I'm really enjoying the story and the journey that these characters are going on. So just these characters' journeys alone is more than enough for me that I'm not overly in a rush for answers. But those of you who do really want some answers, which I understand, I totally understand. At some point we got to get some answers, right? But I think we are going to get some. I think over these last 3 episodes, I would be very surprised if they don't at least give us one really big revelation, especially again with episodes 9 and 10 being titled Revelations Part 1 and Part 2. I think we are definitely going to have some big revelations over these next 3 episodes. And I think we will get some definitive answers, but also some definitive, along with the definitive answers, I think we'll also get some new questions that also set up some new mysteries for season 4 and beyond. So I'm very hopeful that we are going to get a very healthy mix of both answers and new mysteries before the season ends. And as we look at the episode 8 synopsis, it says, accusations start flying and truths come to light in the aftermath of a tragedy. Victor struggles to recover long-buried memories about the town's past. Julie and Ethan search for answers about the mysterious ruins in the woods. So it doesn't give us a whole lot on the synopsis, but definitely gives us enough that we are going to be having I think, a pretty good episode. I have very high hopes for episode 8, 9, and 10. I think they're going to finish the season off on a very strong note, or at least I'm very hopeful that they're going to finish the season off on a strong note. And I can't wait to see what's coming. Do we have any other big character deaths that are going to be happening? We did hear from the showrunners before the season started that we are going to be losing a few of our most beloved characters. Now, up until this point, we have lost Tilly, we have lost Dale, and we have lost Fanny, Pat, Granny, and I suppose Nikki as well. But outside of Tien Chen, can we really consider Tilly and Dale, quote unquote, most beloved characters? I don't know. Maybe. I suppose it depends on who you ask. I mean, I guess everybody has their different definition on who they think is beloved or not. But I don't know. When I hear the showrunners say beloved, that tells me they're talking about main characters, main storyline characters, the mains. So I wouldn't be surprised if we have one more big death to look forward to but I wouldn't be surprised if we had one more death before this season ends. We got 3 episodes left. I am hoping and praying that we get something nice and definitive to end the season off, but also some nice new questions that we can kind of ponder and chew on while we wait for season 4 as well. And for everyone out there who has been wondering whether or not we're going to get a season 4, rest assured it is highly unlikely that this show gets canceled. The only reason we haven't gotten a confirmation for season 4 up until this point is because MGM usually waits for the entire season to play. Then they look at all the numbers, then they order their new seasons. So while I am very confident we are going to get a season 4, once episode 8, 9, and 10 eventually air, we could probably see a confirmation of season 4 not long after that. Because at this point, this is very much becoming their flagship show. It is bringing tons of new subscribers to both MGM and to Amazon Prime. The show has blown up so much in between seasons 2 and 3. The show's gotten so much more popular. So yeah, I would be very surprised if the show got canceled. I don't think we have to worry about that. I think it's all but guaranteed we are definitely going to get a season 4 and probably beyond. I would be very surprised if season 4 was the last season. Based on John Griffin saying that season 3 is just the end of the beginning, that tells me that they at least have another 2 or 3 seasons planned. I would be very surprised if we got anything less than 5 or 6. But rest assured, we will most likely definitely be getting a season 4. And if by some miracle I'm wrong, I'll have a lot of egg on my face. But I am not worried about that, guys. You can take it to the bank. We are definitely going to get a season 4 of From. It is coming. It is definitely coming. I'm confident. I'm confident. And even Harold Perriman was confident. He's even said in one of his recent interviews that he's very confident that they're going to get a season 4. Nothing has been stated yet, but I imagine the cast, all of the cast, is probably very confident that they're going to get a 4th season. This is, again, the show's just way too popular. It's got so much momentum coming into season 3 and coming out of season 3. It's only been growing more and more and more. So again, I'd be very shocked if we do not get a season 4. But as Kiwi reminds me, we are 10 minutes away, so I am going to get ready to close down the stream. So you guys will have plenty of time to get out there, get your drinks ready, get your snacks ready, get your cannabis ready, whatever it is you partake in. Get ready, guys. Bathroom breaks, whatever you got to do. And anybody who wants to pop into the Discord and watch episode 8, it will be streaming live directly in our Discord server. And after the episode is done, we usually hang out and discuss the episode amongst ourselves after it's over. So if anybody wants to maybe watch it on their own screen and then join in the conversation afterwards, that is totally cool as well. But everybody is welcome to hop on in there, watch episode 8. And here we go, guys. Here we go. We are less than 10 minutes away from episode 8, entitled Thresholds. And I definitely get the feeling the title Thresholds is going to be tied to, at the very least, Julie crossing some kind of threshold to enter that dungeon area again. Because if we remember, it's not as simple as just entering those ruins. Boyd specifically had to go back and get that torch, light up that torch to access that place again. So I wonder what is going to happen to Julie that she manages to cross the quote-unquote threshold. I don't know, but I am looking forward to it. I am looking forward to it.
Yep.
But again, big thank you to each and every one of you for joining us. And I will also be live tomorrow, most likely, for our usual Sunday stream. And usually we do an encore watch party for everybody who doesn't have a chance to watch it tonight. Anybody who wants to join us tomorrow night for the watch party would be more than welcome to. And then I will be live Tuesday, our usual regular Tuesday show, where we dive super deep into episode 8 and kind of just dissect the heck out of it. I really look forward to the Tuesday show because we really go deep into that episode, and everybody is welcome to come and join us for that as well. It is releasing pretty soon. If you're an MGM Plus subscriber, or if you watch through Amazon Prime, it should be available on your apps at midnight, just after midnight, which is around 10 minutes from now, less than 10 minutes from now. So if anybody who is an MGM Plus subscriber, if you do watch through Amazon, get ready, get your stuff ready. Come on, go and watch episode 8 when it first drops. And then when you're done, hop on into the Discord and join the conversation if you want to. And I will be in there afterwards as well, hanging out with everybody and diving into the episode.
Okay, Jeremy, there's a couple people in chat are saying that the Discord link doesn't work. Could one of the mods drop a fresh one?
Kiwi did.
Oh, yes.
Kiwi did.
Yeah. Really? Oh, man.
Oh, Kiwi just commented, try to copy and paste it into your browser address bar if the link isn't working. So thanks, Kiwi. Appreciate you updating everybody on that.
Yeah.
Well, the link that's pinned to the top of my chat, that one does work. So if you guys are having trouble, just use the link that's pinned to the top of the chat. That one will take you directly there. And you got to download Discord first, though. This is true. You have to actually have the Discord app. You can't just kind of hit the link. You got to have a Discord app as well. So very good point. Thank you, Amy. But yeah, here we go, guys. Episode 8 is just around the corner now. So a big thank you to each and every one of you for joining us. And after we're done watching the episode, we will be diving in and discussing it in detail in the Discord voice chat. Everybody is welcome to come and hang out in there as well. And until next time, stay safe out there, guys, in this crazy, crazy world. Don't be afraid to throw on that tinfoil hat, dive into that rabbit hole, and we will see you on the next one.